Final preparations for the Smart Modified teams in today's Pace-O-Matic King of the Modifieds presented by Dominion Energy. Racetrack today is South Boston Speedway, and Modifieds are part of the history here at South Boston Speedway for so many years. And you see that car out in front of the field, the 26, the Clarence Steakhouse car being driven by Satch Worley today, just like years gone by, and he'll pace the field today at South Boston Speedway. Let's go downstairs to Derek Perniciglio.
Thank you very much, Bob Dillner, and we are about to get ready and light this candle and get the party underway. And down here with me with the command is 28th District Senator of Virginia, Mr. Bryce Reeves.
Well, it's good to be here. And gentlemen, Godspeed. Drivers, start your engines!
Music to our ears, 600 horsepower coming to life for the biggest race so far this year, the King of the Modifieds for the Smart Modified Tour, and a beautiful shot of some beautiful machinery today. These are low, light, and left, 15-inch tires, 600 horsepower underneath the hood. You don't see many cars like this around America.
No, you don't. There's a lot of people that drive in the fender world. The first time they see a modified, they go, what is that? Well, I'm just here to tell you, if you don't see it, you also feel it. When those cars started up, even up here in the booth, you feel that unmistakable rumble, the bass that is 600 horsepower and the Mod Squad.
Think about a guy like Ryan Newman, who's in the blue number 2 that will lead the field to the green flag. He is a winner and champion in the USAC ranks. He's won everything in NASCAR's Big 3 Series, but he's found his home now later in his career in modified racing with the Smart Modified Tour.
And he doesn't have to be racing this type of race car. He's choosing to race a modified because, as he says, this is one of his favorite race cars he's ever driven. There's nothing like being that low, that fast, having all that rubber, all that grip. And this is a series that Ryan Newman and his entire family, his dad who runs a crate mod, his daughter Brooklyn who's running in the crate mods, this entire family loves modified racing for real.
Ryan Newman is racing for the love of pure modified racing. The kid on the outside of the front row trying to make a name for himself, a regular in the ZMAX Cars Tour late model stock car ranks. His family comes from the modified side. A lot of history over here. He's a third-generation race car driver. How important is today's race to Carson Lofton?
This is everything for this kid right now, right here, right now. Carson Lofton said yesterday, after winning the Pace-O-Matic Pole Award with the fastest time, that he's had 7 wins in modifieds, but he doesn't have that statement win. And he said today a win in the Pace-O-Matic King of the Modifieds would be the statement win that his career needs.
Let's take a look at the starting lineup. A strong field of modifieds here today. We mentioned the Rocket Newman on the front row with Carson Lofton, but take a look at that second row. Patrick Emmerling, so strong in modified racing, especially over the last 5 or 6 years, and Ron Silk, not much better than that 30-time NASCAR Wheel of Modified Tour winner.
Steven Kopczyk, who's was runner-up finisher here last year. Don't count out Joey Coulter in that 4th row. That 02 car has had speed in both races this season.
Yeah, Jake Crum's got a chip on his shoulder, said, hold my beer, I'm going to victory lane here today.
And that
this
kid
would be
can't drink beer.
Big win for him. That's right.
The kid being
15-year-old Paulie Hartwig, indeed. Taking a little look a little bit further back, Blake Barney and Jimmy Showtime Blewett in row number 7.
Danny Bone, the winner of the season opening race, the second race at Anderson. Carter McMurray there. You see Mad Max Hanley. Chris Pastriak, the generational talent from Connecticut, all the way down here in Virginia.
As we continue to march through the field here, you take a look at Elliott Sadler. He'll be starting at the rear of the field in that Sadler Stanley Racing number 16 VA. He's a former track champion too, by the way. Forget about that NASCAR stuff. He loves South Boston Speedway. The nice guy Jimmy Wallace had rear end issues in that 21 machine yesterday, so now he's in the 22 car for his teammate Jason Tutterow. Let's go downstairs to Derek Perniciglio.
Thanks, guys, and pace laps are underway. And right before we go green, talked to a lot of teams up and down pit road and asked them what the strategy was, and a lot of them are planning on doing the same thing. There's going to be a lap 60 to 75 window where they're going to come in for fuel. Well, a lot of guys are going to come in for fuel, but what they're also going to do is also take tires within those laps too. Now, they can't take tires and fuel in the same stop, so they plan to come in, grab their fuel, probably roll out, come back in, grab another tire. So a lot of drivers and a lot of teams are planning to take that tire around that 60, 75 lap break, but if a caution comes out sooner, that could throw a new strategy into this race.
And there you see the old Vega, the Clarence Steakhouse, number 26, being driven today by Satch Worley, one of the best in Southern modified racing, and quite honestly, modified racing across America. But so much history for Satch Worley, not only here at South Boston, but all over the country.
Satch Worley, much like Ray Hendrick, was a guy who transcended borders, okay? Was a success story down here at places like Bowman Gray, all the tracks sprinkled throughout the South. But of course, going up north and having success in the bigger, what they considered back then, bigger ranks of the modified tour, Satch Worley is a true legend. And seeing that Clarence's Steakhouse car on this track gives you chill bumps.
Chill bumps. I think that's a technical term, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. I call them goosebumps, but today we'll have plenty of bumps because we are all anticipating an unbelievable event for 125 laps. Ladies and gentlemen, we want you to stand up and get on your feet because this is our salute to open wheels, chrome horns, and 600 horsepower. The ground pounders, the Mod Squad. This is the Smart Modified Tour and the king of the modifieds. Anticipation building, drama building for this 125 laps. Teams communicating with their drivers, the drivers with the nerves and the butterflies in their stomach, especially for a couple of teenagers. One of them on the outside of the front row, another a little bit deeper in the field, Paulie Hartwig, who set the world on fire last year here with the Smart Modified Tour as a championship contender and was a winner in Tour Type Modifieds at New Smyrna during Florida Speed Weeks in that 20.
Well, you mentioned that front row, Bob, and that front row, I believe, finished 1-2 at an open modified race last week at Caraway Speedway. Lofton getting the win, Ryan Newman picking him up in victory lane. That is the great example of modified racing today. A grizzled veteran on the inside, the outside of that row, a youngster trying to make a name for himself. You see Burt Meyer's car right there dropping to the rear of the field after qualifying, some problems on that car. So he will join Braun at the rear of that field. Also, Karsten Dijon Tommaso and Elliott Sadler, all those drivers have to start in the rear today.
Burt Myers has a little pep in his step. He's always good here at this racetrack, but he's coming off a great run a couple of weeks ago in Anderson, South Carolina, where he was on the podium. But at this racetrack, Burt Myers, a former winner here. In fact, he only has one finish outside the top 7 in 8 starts at this racetrack.
Burt Myers is one to beat here at South Boston. You look at that beautiful car right there, the number 17, Showtime Jimmy Blewett.
With VCU Massey Comprehensive Cancer Center on the side of that race car and a special message on the front nose piece. Jimmy, very proud to be here. He wasn't with us last year after battling with some health problems, but now Jimmy is ready to go here today.
And he has some people on the back of his car. Great tie-in to his sponsor. Personal friends of his, Kevin Flockhart Sr. and Crystal O'Neill, who are fighting cancer themselves. So a sponsor that's more than just lettering on a race car.
And VCU Massey Comprehensive Cancer Center in the Midway doing some screenings and raising awareness for cancer. Here we go. It's the richest race in Tour Type Modified Racing. $20,000 on the line for the winner. But it's the crown that everyone has their eye on today. Who will be king? That is the question as we go green with the king of the modifieds at South Boston Speedway on a beautiful Southern Virginia day. Carson Lofton grabs the lead, rockets into the lead by the Rocket Man Ryan Newman. Ron Silk, who led 34 laps here last year, into that second spot. Newman now into the clutches of Patrick Emmerling. Emmerling to third, Newman dropping like a fly.
Newman with those cold tires on that start, not having the start he wanted here at the start of the King of the Modifieds. There's the former King of the Modifieds on the outside. Luke Baldwin in that 7NY black and yellow machine, making the outside work.
Side by side right now for 5th. Newman is there. Here comes Steven Kopsick. Brand new race car. Worked till the wee hours of the morning the last week for him to prepare that new black and silver and orange race car, and he's got it running well here today. Newman continues to drop early in this race. Don't know if that's one of those things where he could say, listen, everybody's charging hard. I need to decide my pace. I'm just going to hang out in the latter part of the top 10.
This is a tough place to get that race pace because the laps here, Bob, are so fast. We talk about speed at most of the racetracks, but even a guy like Elliott Sather, who's driven 200 miles per hour in a Cup Series race, talked about how driving here, you feel like you're going 225 miles per hour because the tight confines of this place, inside walls, outside walls, super fast modifieds, it feels even faster than it is.
Max Hamley in that blue number 45 machine, one of the Racing Electronics Rookie of the Year competitors, felt at home yesterday. Danny Bone in that blue and white 25, the point leader, mired in a big pack in the middle of this race.
Jake Crispin on the inside gets that position in the day glow orange 48. Danny Bone drops out now. A battle developing for the lead. Carson Lofton's at the top, but he's got company. Here comes Silky Smooth, Ron Silk.
Silk on the inside of Carson Lofton. The first challenge for the lead in this race comes near the lap 10 mark. Silk on the inside of the kid Carson Lofton. Lofton, a winner at Caraway last week. Ronnie Silk trying to get to the lead, and does here on that lap. Lap number 9, he leads. Patrick Emmerling trying to follow him. Right behind the number 16. Silk in the lead. Here comes Emmerling.
The invaders, the outsiders, making their way to the front in the King of the Modifieds. They get spot number 1 and spot number 2, 10 laps into this one.
So the top 3 settling in. The gray goes 0-2 for Joey Coulter behind that. Coulter has had a miserable start to the season.
Coulter not having the start he wants, but at every track that O2 has had speed. Harold Holly, the crew chief, tuning on that Rum Runner Racing car and having it fast everywhere we go. The top 3 now starting to spread out just a little as the race pace starts to set in here at South Boston.
Pretty much single file almost all the way around this racetrack right now. A couple of side-by-side battles a little bit further back in the field, but you have to pace yourself. There's Steven Kopsick. Kopsick in the 1, Brandon Ward in that Polaris Outdoors 04 in the top 5 right now. Looking good. That is a battle for 5th with Ryan Newman right behind them.
Brandon Ward returning to the Smart Modified Tour. 2 years ago when he was on this tour, he was in the Smart 3, the playoffs. The year before that, he was a championship contender as well. Last year, that 04, well, they took the year off from the Smart Modified Tour, ran a few shows, but he ran at Bowman Gray Stadium where he had a dominating season, getting the championship at that historic quarter-mile oval around a football field. But you know what? That team really wanted to go back tour-type modified racing on a traveling tour, and so far this year they've had success.
Newman hanging tough in the Bass Pro Shops number 2. Behind him is the Stoke Shoes 7NY machine for Jack Baldwin. Last year's Racing Electronics Rookie of the Year competitor, and then his brother in the 7VA for Sadler Stanley Racing behind that. Luke Baldwin, a good run a couple of weeks ago at Anderson, but Luke Baldwin trying to go for 3 straight titles in the Smart Series, did not have a good opener, and that's why he's mired back in 9th in points.
You look right now, you look at the 04 car, kind of shaping up Steven Kopsick, and there is they're going through turn 3 and 4 right now. Kopsick dipping down low below that apron. A common line here, especially you see it in the late models. You start to see it in the modifieds too, trying to get that car to turn off the bottom of the corner and have a straight run off that corner.
And sometimes these modifieds will dip that left front tire like Brandon Ward did right there to get a little run, to get that car turned. But right now he cannot get by the 1CT of Kopsick, the Connecticut kid, strong, excited. The former, I should say last year's Spring Sizzler winner at Stafford Motors Speedway. This kid is on the rise in modified racing.
You know, started out in the SK modified division. You know, down south here we have the crate modifieds up in Stafford Motor Speedway in Connecticut. The big feeder series to the modified ranks is the SK modifieds, something that's become a giant of its own up at that racetrack. And he really made a name for himself there. And it took him a little bit of a while to adjust to the tour car, but he's done so in spectacular fashion. And coming home with $10,000 last year was a big thing for him.
Not much of a surprise right here. A lot of people expected Ron Silk and Patrick Emmerling to pace this field. And right now they're doing that early in this one. Silk in the 16, Emmerling in the 1. Emmerling has been red hot as of late. Emmerling last year so strong on the tour, battling for a championship. 9 wins in his career now on the tour to go along with those 3 Race of Champions Modified Series titles.
Emmerling starting off the season strong as well down at Speed Weeks at New Smyrna Speedway, but he is now all over the back bumper as Silk approaches lap traffic here at South Boston. 25 laps into this one, lapping some cars already. Silk is on the point.
Zahinski goes a lap down in the 23 machine. Here comes Emmerling trying to get a run on the bottom. Can he get up alongside? Not just yet, but Silk actually has to go high side by side for the lead. Emmerling takes him up the racetrack a little bit, and Emmerling to the lead in the King of the Modifieds on lap 27.
Bob, did you see how good that car cut in the center of the corner? The USNE number 1 really rotates.
Emmerling in control of this race with under 100 to go. Down to Derek.
You know, you guys were just talking about some side-by-side racing going on out there. A lot of the crew guys and a lot of the drivers said the groove is very narrow because everyone has been sticking to the bottom side of the racetrack. But what they're hoping is to get into a long flat run, to get some more of that side-by-side and possibly wide racing to widen it out so cars can start moving up the track.
We will keep an eye on that. The Bell Helmet Stage 1 checkered flag has been thrown. That will not stop the action. We are running right through that Bell Helmet Stage 1, but Patrick Emmerling, Ron Silk, and Carson Lofton will pick up an extra cash for being in the top 3 at the conclusion of Bell Helmet Stage 1. Look at Harmon here. Actually, I'm sorry. That's Chrisman in the 48. Both orange cars on the racetrack. Harmon right there in the number 51. Actually, I apologize. That's a couple of orange cars. That's Carter McMurray. But we got a car slowing, and it's Brandon Ward. Trouble for Brandon Ward and the King of the Modifieds, one of the championship contenders with the Smart Modified Tour.
Right now, he's trying not to stop. He doesn't want a penalty for causing the caution, but he can't get down to come to pit road, so the yellow flag is out.
And it looks like he might have smoke coming from the headers, maybe power underneath the hood for Brandon Ward. That is a bad sign for that Polaris off-road team.
Bringing out the first VCU Massey Comprehensive Cancer Center caution flag, and a heartbreak for the driver of the 04. The champion last year at Bowman Gray Stadium has gone up in smoke.
And look at all the fluid on the racetrack directly behind the 04 machine. That's a bad break for one of the favorites for the championship this year for the Smart Modified Tour. South Boston Speedway, always very interesting. A lot of drama early in this one, Derek.
Yeah, definitely, especially early on for Brandon Ward and the entire Kevin Powell Speed Motorsports team. Ran over, talked to the crew, grabbed crewman Bobby Sada, said, "What happened?" He said, "The car blew up. They lost the engine."
Yes, and you could tell by the smoke coming out of the headers, it'll be an early end to the day for Brandon Ward in this one with engine trouble underneath the hood. 32 laps complete here today at South Boston Speedway in the King of the Modifieds. Welcome back to the King of the Modifieds at South Boston Speedway. Under caution for Brandon Ward, who blew an engine in the 04 machine. Jimmy Blewett running in the 11th spot right now. Jimmy, how excited are you to be back here at the King of the Modifieds?
Feels real good, Bobby. You know, especially going around here right now and seeing how many people we got in the grandstand that come out of here to support us.
I know you're excited about this one. How's the car in the early going here?
Car feels really good. You know, in the beginning there, I got held up just a little bit, and I was able to pick off about 3 or 4 of them guys. And I felt like I had something for the one here before this caution came out. But right now the car feels good. Just trying to work on getting the best track position I can as early as I can here in the race.
I know another thing that you're excited about is Wall Stadium and the future that Speedway has this coming year. Your son's been there doing some work, many other people as well. How excited are you for your home track this year with Wall Stadium in New Jersey?
All I can say is I'm beyond excited. I just want to say I'm super proud of the team that Pete and Freddie put together at the racetrack. You know, all of us have been working countless hours on the Speedway to try to bring it back to life. You know, going with NASCAR this year has been huge, and a huge uptake for us at the Speedway. But I'm really excited about it. I can't wait to get there and to see all the fans and show all the improvements that everybody's been making.
Jimmy, we wish you the best of luck. I know you're coming down pit road right now. Go get them.
Thank you, Bobby.
Making sure we clean up the track appropriately in turns 1 and 2 after all that fluid was put down by Brandon Ward.
Yeah, you know, really working on safety right there. So blowing that speedy dry across the racetrack, trying to clean this track up, not in a haphazard fashion. South Boston is one of those racetracks where the personnel here trains, not just in cleanup, but in things like extrication. You know, amazing that they actually even called Chris Williams 2 years ago, trying to get a modified here just to practice. So this is a top-notch facility here in South Boston, Virginia.
We are going to go back to our Racing Electronics race communication. Patrick Emmerling having a good run so far in this one. Patrick, you're in control right now. What do you think about that race car and this racetrack early in this one?
We're feeling good. It was pretty greasy out there, so there's a lot of guys slipping and sliding pretty early. You know, I was slipping too, but I think we were in a little bit of a better situation than most of them.
Patrick, you come down here, make your first smart start with the King of the Modifieds. Why the effort to come down here and run this particular race?
You know, as far as down south goes, this is a crown jewel race. This is a race we've been wanting to do. I think I had a conflict and wasn't able to do it last year, I believe. And we want to race down south, and I feel like it would be a lot of fun. And it was kind of like we're going to have the hauler and equipment down here anyway, and you know, for Martinsville coming up, and we decided to come down and run this race. So far, we're having a lot of fun out there.
Yeah, you had a good speed week. It's nice to see you here. We wish you the best of luck in the rest of this race.
Thank you, Bob.
Patrick Emmerling, who will run the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour event just about 60 miles down the road from here at Martinsville Speedway next Friday night. Let's go down to Derek.
Well, unfortunately, you can see the smoke coming out of the exhaust of the 04 KevinSaysYes.com machine of Brandon Ward. Unfortunately, your day is done. Did it give you any warning that the engine was going to let go?
I mean, none, not so ever. It just, everything was fine. It let go going down the front straightaway. So just thanks to this team, thanks to Kevin Powell, Will Spa, this entire KP Speed Motorsports group. They do a great job. Had us a good race car today. You know, thanks to KevinSaysYes.com, Foothill Ford, Polaris Off-Road, Bilstein, everybody that helps us so much. PME Engines, first engine problem we've had in a long time. So, but it happens, just part of it. But yeah, good car today. Just hate that happened, especially so early on.
How was the car performing before the engine blew up? Because you were solidly in the top 10.
Yeah, it was really good, really good. I mean, kind of just riding it out right there. I felt like a couple of cars in front of us were starting to slide around. Our car was really, really stable, really good. Felt like it was going to be good on the long run, but, you know, unfortunately, we won't know now.
Unfortunately, the Polaris Off-Road Kevin Powell's Foothill Ford machine is out of this race, guys. Tough break for Brandon Ward, who finished 4th in this race last year.
A good run so far for Carson Lofton. Lofton running in the top 5 right now. Carson, how does that car feel as you sit on pit road waiting to get back to green?
I think everybody's kind of chasing it, and just going to try to make it to the pit stop and go from there. So that's the goal right now.
I talked to Patrick Emmerling, and he said the track was pretty slick as well. Any idea, or did you expect it to be this way early in this one?
Yeah, I felt like we all expected it to be this way because they filled the track over the off season, and it was pretty slick yesterday in the heat of the day, and it's hotter today. And then also with the late models running 100 laps before us, it's just a lot of things going on. So hopefully we can turn this thing around to stop and drive in the front.
Well, you're about to drive back out into the racetrack. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you, Bob.
Carson Lofton with the Racing Electronics Race Communication, and always interesting to talk to some of these drivers to kind of get a feel for what they're thinking, especially early in the race with so many laps to go.
I like to really, like what he said there, talking about the other rubber that's on the racetrack with the late model. So that's an interesting point of view right there that we don't get in the booth. But the rubber that's laid down here throughout the weekend does vary the racetrack conditions.
And the late model people were talking about that as well with coming up after the modified. So a lot of different rubber going down on the racetrack. Cleanup continues here at South Boston Speedway. Still under red flag conditions in the Pace-O-Matic King of the Modifieds presented by Dominion Energy. Drone coverage today live on Flow Racing being brought to you by Carolina Drilling and Citrus Safe Grill Cleaners. Let's go back to the Racing Electronics Race Communication and dial in Joey Coulter in the 02. Joey, you've had a tough run in the first couple weeks, and I know I've talked to you before on the radio, but I wanted to dial you in to find out how things are going so far.
If it wasn't for all the awesome fans here at the track and everybody watching on Flow, I'd probably tell you to talk to somebody else. But no, man, we've had a good, great go so far. It's been the story of our season. We've had a really fast hot rod. Just not quite the luck, but it's a good day to turn all that around.
What is this racetrack like right now?
It surprised me, honestly. In practice, we weren't really able to run much but one lane, and then we had a pretty good start there up on the top, and then now we're all running below the apron. So that's one of the good things, one of the awesome things about racing at South Boston is you got options, and it's probably just going to get better the longer we run.
Hey, we didn't get a chance to talk to you about that 04 that you have inside, your numbers on the side of that race car, and I know you're running for somebody special there. Could you tell us that story?
Yeah, that's my Uncle Richard. He passed away a couple weeks ago. He actually was one of the guys that got me started in racing and was a general manager of Coulter Motorsports when we ran in the ARCA series and stuff. So he fought a long, hard battle, and we're going to race for him and hopefully get us a win here for him too.
By the way, have you ever thought about what it would be like to be a king?
I have. I was close at the King of the Carolinas race in a dirt late model one night, good if we can pull this off.
Good luck, Joey.
Appreciate it.
Joey Coulter behind the wheel of the Bill Stein SRI Performance number 02. Also runs Swift Springs on the side in that race car, and they are a sponsor of the Smart Modified Tour in 2026 as well. Look at that shot right there of South Boston Speedway. Love the fact that we have a great production crew here today for our Flow Racing broadcasts.
And a great crowd on hand, all the people that are in the grandstands right now, probably enjoying a nice bologna burger. If you've never been to South Boston Speedway, this isn't an ad, but heck it is. The South Boston Bologna Burger is probably one of the greatest concession food items in all of short track racing. I'm a big fan. I'm just going to say, I'm not just big, I'm a big fan. I've had 3 today, I believe. So I stole Elliott Sadler's Bologna Burger earlier today. So from him to keep him trim and fit and slick inside this number 16 modified today. But all the fans enjoying the beautiful sunshine here in Virginia today and 600 horsepower modified racing. You see them right there in droves. They entered this beautiful facility today. Look at that crowd right there. Unbelievable crowd attending here the 3rd annual King of the Modifieds at South Boston Speedway.
Elliott Sadler in this race as well, former South Boston Speedway track champion. We know about all of his success in NASCAR. Right now, Elliott Sadler in this race. Let's go to our Racing Electronics Race Communication. How you doing, Elliott?
Going good.
How's that race car right now, and then what are you learning about these modifieds?
It's been good. Sorry you cut out a little bit there, but I think you said how it's modified. They've been good, This is my 2nd year on the tour. Had quite a few races last year to get experience. I felt like we've had pretty good speed these first couple of races. I know that qualifying and first 30 laps of this one haven't been the best, but I know the speed that, Darren, my new crew chief for this year, who's done an amazing job. I know the speed we've got in this race car, and, I think you'll be seeing us up at the front here soon in this race.
Hey, good luck the rest of the race, man. Unfortunately, the wrong frequency on that one, but we'll get back to talking to some race car drivers in just a little bit here at South Boston Speedway. Folks, we're cleaning things up. Red flag conditions here at South Boston Speedway for the King of the Modifieds, live on Flow Racing in Virginia. Cars are back rolling for the King of the Modifieds at South Boston Speedway. A big shout out to Pace-O-Matic as well as Dominion Energy for making this race happen for Chris Williams and the entire Smart Modified Tour Series. This is a very big event, a lot of money on the line, more than $100,000 of a purse being paid out today with $20,000 to the winner.
The biggest purse in tour type modified racing for sure. I mean, when you think about it, second place getting $10,000, that's pretty darn good. So right now, Ron Silk, though, doesn't want second place. He wants that top spot because it's not just about the money. It's also about getting the cloak. It's also about getting the crown here at the King of the Modifieds.
VCU Massey Comprehensive Cancer Center caution is now waving once again. Remember, caution flags do not count in this race. And now that we're by Bell Helmet Stage 1, we concentrate on the next stage of this race, if you will, and that's everybody expecting that controlled caution that's going to come out in between laps 60 and 75, where teams will first have the opportunity to fuel their race car, go back out on the racetrack, and then if they want the opportunity to come down pit road, Carter McMurray in the number 40 machine looks like he's going to have to get a little push start here. But the crucial thing for all these teams is when they're going to take that one tire at their disposal.
I think you're going to see a lot of people at that mid-race juncture, that fuel stop, when they reopen pit road after that fuel stop. My prediction is you're going to see most of the teams, except for maybe the top two, dip down. That's my prediction. I think the number 1 and the 16 at the front of that field, Emmerling and Silk, can control their pace now and control their tire wear. And it will be interesting to see who else dips down. But I think that's the sweet spot right after that fuel stop.
So many newcomers here to the Smart Modified Tour, and here is one of them behind the wheel of the number 48 for Jake Chrisman. Jake ran with the Race of Champions modified circuit last year. Top 5 in points, by the way, but he's a super stock driver from upstate New York. And he said, man, I just wanted to come down to South Boston. I wanted to run the King of the Modifieds, and he's hoping if he gets through this race here today unscathed, he might make it to Dominion Raceway in a couple of weeks for the next event, the Flying VA Classic with the Smart Modified Tour.
That would be great. I mean, the Smart Modified Tour has become home to a lot of different drivers from different walks of life, different areas in life, too. Jake Harmon, of course, last year coming down here to run the King of the Modifieds and had a spectacular finish that really put his name in the hat as a contender down here when he comes for the Smart Modified Tour.
Harmon ran 10th here at the King of the Modifieds, going to be pulling off a pit road. And by the way, also had a top 5 finish in the Race of Champions modified circuit last year. So he's just 17 years old and learning the ropes of modified racing.
That whole team was out at a Mexican food restaurant with us last night. Got to spend some time with their team, their family, a family operation. They operate funeral homes. That's their business, and they were all together as a family. That's what short track racing's all about too. It's not just showing up here at the racetrack. It's also going out to dinner, enjoying family time.
Hey Derek, how about Jaden Harmon?
Jaden Harmon's putting on an impressive run out there. Of course, we know he comes from that Pennsylvania area, Evergreen and Mahoning Valley tracks being his hometown. But one of the points that I was trying to make to add to what you guys were talking about was when we asked a lot of these drivers what brings you down here, you know, the guys that don't usually race with the Smart Modified Tour, their answer was simple. They love this place. They enjoy coming to South Boston. They love racing at this racetrack, and they think the facility is just top-notch. I got answers like that out of guys like Patrick Emmerling and out of Ron Silk. They just enjoy coming to this place to race.
We're having a little conversation up here in the booth, and there's the CitraSafe Grill Cleaners Choose Cone. And thank you to CitraSafe Grill Cleaners. You can get that best grill cleaner on the market at Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, and a whole heck of a lot more.
Really interesting, Bob, on this cone, the Choose Cone from CitraSafe. Emmerling, of course, taking the bottom, the second place competitor, Ron Silk, choosing to stay on the bottom behind Patrick Emmerling. Third place driver, Carson Lofton, goes to the top to try to regain that lead.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. And Before we go green, want to talk about some other drivers. Trevor Catalano in that number 56 car. There are a ton of Catalanos that run. Amy, the mom, to the brothers, and everybody in between. But Trevor coming down and running this one here. And obviously he's had success in the Wheel and Modified Tour a couple of years ago. But he's still learning the ropes, if you will, with modified racing. And the Catalanos remind me of the Zachariases of old when we used to go upstate New York at Spencer and Shangri-La. There's so many of them that just love racing.
You know, that's a really young, talented race car driver. And we saw 2 years ago in modified racing, a division that's been ruled by veteran racers. Trevor Catalano as a teenager, Carson Lofton as a teenager, Luke Baldwin as a teenager. For the first time in the history of the modified division, all around America, we saw teenagers winning multiple races.
Up front, though, in this one, it's being owned almost solely by veterans, with the exception of the car on the outside of the front row for this restart, and that's Carson Lofton, the aforementioned Carson Lofton. But right now, the veterans looking strong early in the going. They know how to handle these slick racetracks. And we're about to, just about a lap and a half, we believe, from going green once again.
And what I want to look out for, Bob, here is the outside. I think is treacherous. I think that's why Silk chose the bottom, because there's a lot of speedy dry in turn 1 and turn 2, and that speedy dry is kind of on the outside edge of that top groove, so that's going to be treacherous here and something to watch out for the drivers, all of them lined up on the outside of this field. You see those tires sneaking into that groove. That's the trouble spot potentially here on this restart.
It's a great observation, and a lot of those drivers going into turn number 1 know that. They might push those drivers just a little bit higher to get the advantage, not to direct them at all, but to get the advantage and gain some more spots. I think that's going to be the thought for everybody on that inside line.
Well, here we go, Bob. Lap 32. The fans coming to their feet, going back to green here at the King of the Modifieds.
Emmerling nice and slow to the Pace-O-Matic restart zone. They fire and they zoom down the front stretch. Emmerling grabs the top spot. Carson Lofton trying to stay there but can't. Silk in the 16 trying to stick his nose in there but can't do it. Side by side, battle for second.
What a battle throughout the field. Lots of side-by-side racing, but right now it's on for the runner-up spot. Silk dipping down low, getting that grip, but the power on the outside for the number 15 of Lofton. Side-by-side through turn number 4, putting on a show here at Sobo.
Pretty impressive is Carson Lofton on the outside, but he might get gobbled up in a hurry. Silk goes by. Here comes Joey Coulter now on the inside of Carson Lofton. So sometimes when you stay out there too long, it opens up the door on the inside lane, and that's what Joey Coulter is trying to take advantage of as the VCU Massey Comprehensive Cancer Center caution is out once again. And I'm told it's Elliott Sadler who hit the wall coming off of turn number 2. Max Hanley involved as well, that Racing Electronics Rookie of the Year competitor out of Medford, New York.
It looks like possibly Sadler doesn't have much damage on that 16 car. You see it right there on your screen, the Pace-O-Matic ride with Slip In, the family convenience store sponsored on the side of it, but obvious damage to the right front for the number 45 of Hanley. Now the 16 of Sadler pulls down pit road to come to service of his SS Racing team.
Yeah, bad break for both of those drivers, especially Max Hanley.
Yeah.
Because Hanley, one of those Rookie of the Year competitors, a driver who had some success in crate modifieds at Riverhead Raceway. There's the work going on, Phil Stefanelli, with on the right side of the race car, left side of your screen, taking a look at what might have happened or if there's any damage whatsoever to that 16 ride.
Also, it looks like making some fine adjustments there to the shocks on the right rear of that number 16 machine.
Sadler had just climbed behind the wheel of a modified just a few days ago.
First time.
He told us today, man, it's hard to get in these things.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, though. He said it was hard to get in it. I saw some video of it. I couldn't believe a guy of his size, he's like our size. You know, he's like 6'2", 6'3". To get in these modifieds, they have a very shallow, like short greenhouse. So it's very hard to twist yourself into one of these race cars.
I honestly like what he said when Newman walked up. He goes, man, he says, when I tried to get in there, he says, it was hard. He says, how does Newman do this?
I said it was because of Newman's lack of neck, which resulted in a little more laughter. But
you gotta
we
look.
kid because we care.
Yeah, you got to look for sure from Newman. He might pound you into the pavement at some point.
Oh, boy.
But right now, 34 laps into the King of the Modifieds, and you still see some of that speedy dry up in turns 1 and 2.
Can I ask you, I want to talk about something. You see those little black lines in the pavement right there, Bob? The sealer, okay? Those are kind of cracks in the pavement as pavement ages, and those sealer marks, they provide a little bit of character to this racetrack. And here's how. I was talking to Patrick Emmerling yesterday, and we had a really fun conversation because I was like, hey, this place has so much grip. You get in there, and then, bang, you're right back in the throttle, right? But he was like, you know, it's also interesting because of those little sealer marks. When you hit them, it's much like California on the Cup Series was in Fontana, where you lose a little bit of grip. And it's not in one lane or one defined, it's all over the racetrack. So you're constantly chasing your race car throughout the turn.
And this track has a lot of character. Part of the character off of turn number 4, you can see from our speed shot or our drone shot down the front stretch. Turn 4 bit a competitor here yesterday. Jake Lutz hit the wall hard, said he just simply overcorrected, slammed the wall coming off of turn number 4. That's why Jake Lutz is not in the field today with that black and gold number 14 machine.
That upstate New York driver just completely destroyed that race car. And it's just really shows you here how quick something can happen and how violent the wrecks can be when you're traveling at these speeds. This is short track racing. If you're a NASCAR fan, say, that maybe comes to a place like South Boston, a 4/10 of mile oval, you might think, okay, it's a little short track. How fast are they going? 120 average, maybe, 140 on the straightaway, something like that. But, speed, if you really look at this place, you fly around this racetrack. And when you wreck at a racetrack of this speed, it's pretty big.
Average speed for the Pace-O-Matic Pole Award winning run by Carson Lofton was over 104 miles per hour. That's average speed. That's not top speed on the straightaways.
Lord, that is fast.
So Emmerling will lead the field to the green flag. I continue to keep my eye on a couple of competitors in this field. Steven Kopsick is one of them with that brand new number 1 machine, the black and silver car with the orange numbers. Kopsick has lost a couple of spots over the last couple of laps here, but still early in this one, and you have to bide your time.
Blake Barney actually moving up a few spots from his starting position of 13th. The black and white car there a few rows back on the outside. The New Jersey driver now into the top 10 here at the King of the Modifieds. A good run for Blake Barney with Jay Crum underneath him on this restart. Again, these restarts will get wild here. The speedy dry still going to be a factor in turn number 1 as we go back to green.
Max Hanley was the car at the end of pit road that you saw. He'll be going out on the racetrack just momentarily to start at the tail end of the field. He is actually being held, and we'll get a clarification on that at the end of pit road. Back to green we go. Patrick Emmerling controls this start, but look at the restart that Carson Lofton has. Lofton to the lead here in the King of the Modifieds.
Wow, a bold move on the outside. Now following suit on the top groove is the Rocket Man. Here comes Ryan Newman, but we have a new leader. Again, it's Carson Lofton.
Ryan Newman in second, Emmerling back to third. Ron Silk in the 4th spot, and look at who's in the top 5 now. Here is Luke Baldwin marching through the field in that Pace-O-Matic 7VA.
Luke Baldwin loves this racetrack. He knows how to get around here fast. Further back in the field, you see Kopchik wash up. Now the pressure is on for the lead. 3 cars battling for it. Newman dips down low off of turn number 4, peeking to see if he can get daylight underneath the driver, the number 15.
As you mentioned earlier, last week at Caraway Speedway in Sophia, North Carolina, these two running 1 and 2 on the racetrack ran 1 and 2 to the checkered flag in an open competition modified event. There is Emmerling. Emmerling, such a strong race car with that USNE power machine. Battles a little bit further back through the field. Around that 10th spot, Jimmy Blewett right in the mix, and there was some contact, and Trevor Catalano goes around after that contact. Burt Myers with a hard shot by Jimmy Wallace. Myers, one of the championship contenders in the Smart Modified Tour. This is what you see occasionally here at South Boston Speedway, a melee, and with walls on the inside and out, it causes chaos and a stoppage on the racetrack with a myriad of cars.
8 cars, it looks like, involved. Burt Myers, Tuttero's machine, the Joey Braun machine, McDaniel, Austin McDaniel, Slate Myers, Catalano, Will Lambros, Austin Kashinash, Paulie Hartwig III. Looks like, also, who's that car on the inside there, Bob?
I think that's
23.
Brad Zahensky.
Yeah. Zahensky.
The winner at Claremont Speedway and a competitor from the state of New Hampshire. Look at Will Lambros try to pull down the racetrack between Zahensky and Kashinash.
Great shot right there. You see that car pull away. It looks like possibly some minimal damage on the 77 as he tries to get it backed up. Some damage on the front bumper. It looked like the contact he had was a little square. Some of the cars that are damaged the most, it looked like Slate Myers' car that's pulling down pit road, and of course Kashinash's car.
What's going on down there in turn number 1? What is your vantage point, Derek?
Well, right now there's a lot of cleanup going on. The number 66 of Austin Kashinash has got water leaking out the front radiator, so it looks like his day is going to be done with coolant running out of the front end. The 23 machine of Brad Zielinski is also not been able to roll away. And the 77 of Will Lambros just suffered some cosmetic damage, front bumper damage from him. They're going to push away the 66 of Kashinash, and it looks like the 23 is going to need a push as well. Brad Zielinski and Trevor Catalano. Doesn't look like major damage done to his car. Anything, nothing too bad. Everything is pointed in the right direction. He's just backed up into it, and hopefully he'll be able to get restarted and rejoin the field.
And we'll see what happens. Going to be a little bit of cleanup. You see all that fluid being put down on the racetrack and the speedy dry being put over that. They are trying to work that speedy dry into the racetrack, and then they're going to have to run some of these cars through it as well to get that cleaned up, because that's a pivotal point on the racetrack. That was a wild one. We were watching it, and take a look at right there. It looked like Catalano came off the wall and got into Jimmy Blewett. Want to have a slow-mo of that to really see exactly what happened, but that 56 car of Catalano actually had a little wiggle coming off the corner and then just made contact with the Nerf bar on the 17 of Jimmy Blewett, and then everybody was just holding on after that.
Yeah, that looked like the Long Island Expressway right there, just stacked up, almost like a dirt modified wreck. But you see the damage on the number 4 car of Slate Myers, who probably has the most damage of anybody there. Wonder if it got the radiator there. Severe nose damage on that number 4 car right now. So I think that's the car with the most. His dad has a flat right rear. Burt Myers is on pit road. We are under red flag right now, so the teams cannot touch these race cars. They can look at them and see what they want to fix on them right now. So Myers with damage there, and then father, Burt Myers, with a flat right rear.
Slate Myers, 11th in points coming into this race in that number 4 machine with Bryson Brothers Aerial Solutions. On the back of that car, he's got the helmet off, looks to be climbing out of that mount. Bad break for the 4th generation driver.
Yeah, 4th generation driver. You don't get to say that much in American motorsport, and you'll be able to watch him every week on Flow Racing at Bowman Gray Stadium, the weekly races. I'll be on the call for some of them with you, Bob. So, you know, Slate Myers becoming a star in modifieds, but not the day he wanted.
Derek Pernasiglio is with him.
As Slate Myers just climbed out of the car, of course, you look very frustrated out there. From your vantage point, could you tell us what happened? It looked like everybody just jammed up in front of you.
Yeah, pretty much. It's South Boston, so everything just happened so quick. I mean, there was really nowhere else to go. We might have been able to salvage a little something. The 66 came in 20 days later, so that cooked our day.
Well, unfortunately, Slate Myers out of this race. So let's talk with Jason Myers. He says they think they're also done because they caught the radiator. There's a little bit of fluid leaking out the front end.
Yeah, Jason Myers, his uncle, crew chief on that car. Jason will be running at Bowman Gray Stadium as well, again going for the title in the NASCAR Modified Division. Let's take a look at this one again and watch for the 56 car coming off the corner with Jimmy Blewett. And it looked like Jimmy actually came up the racetrack a little bit, made that contact, and then Trevor Catalano came down the racetrack, and the rest was history.
Yeah, it just becomes a big old dirt mod wreck right there. You see Tutterow getting into the number 1 of Burt Myers, but, you know, really seeing what happened in slow-mo was really the crucial thing there. It looked like a battle of 2 angles coming off the corner, and those 2 angles converged. There is the number 40 of Carter McMurray, who's on pit road as well, that number 40.
And by the way, I got to apologize to Carter a little bit earlier. We spoke to him. It was 16 VA in our radio, and we thought we were talking to Elliott Sadler, but it was Carter McMurray. But he's a good sport, and he's got HendrickCars.com on that race car as well, and he's really learning the ranks here in the modified class. There you see the right rear tire mangled up and down on Burt Myers' Citrasafe Cleaners machine. We'll be back to South Boston Speedway.
Track bar broke. The track bar mount broke, and it's got the.
Second red flag of the King of the Modifieds comes on lap 39. Big wreck in turn number 1. One of those that was involved in it is Trevor Catalano. We are listening to his radio, and they are being told that since the yellow flag is back out, they can start working on that race car. And they are talking on the radio. We'll have a word with Trevor Catalano. We already have it cleared with him in just a second. But Catalano kind of with some damage on that race car after some contact with Jimmy Blewett, and then what, an 8, 9, 10 car pileup in turn number 1.
Huge pile up there. Definitely one of the big plot points of this race so far. Of course, the second red flag, but Bob, you've got him.
Let's talk to Trevor Catalano on the radio. Trevor, what happened in that incident?
Yeah, you know, we were just racing hard there and trying to roll the outside, make some position up before the pit stop there, and just, you know, got caught in a bad spot. And, got pitched a little bit, got a little sideways, got in the fence, and then just tried to keep it out of the fence and not destroy the cars, destroy it at night. Unfortunate that a lot of cars got caught up in it, but yeah, we'll make some adjustments here, try and be better, and hopefully get back up there and before the pit stop so we have a shot at the win tonight. Any
damage to that race car?
No, not really. I think I stayed out of the fence pretty good, maybe some nerve bars, but didn't get any of the main suspension, so I think we'll be all right here.
Thanks for talking to us, Trevor. That's Trevor Catalano behind the wheel of the number 56. And on pit road, we see Burt Myers with a lot of activity down there in his pit. Let's go to Derek.
And there's some wholesale work going on in the Citrus Safe Cleaners number 1. Talk to the crew when they made contact out there. It pushed the rear out of square. It also pushed the track bar into the drive shaft. They bent the drive shaft on the car. They broke the track bar mount. So the crew is thrashing right now. They are going to pull the old track bar mount out. They're going to pull the drive shaft out, replace both of them, hopefully get the rear squared, and get Burt Myers back out there on the racetrack. Meanwhile, the number 20 of Paulie Hartwig, who is pitted right behind him, lost low gear in the transmission. They just had the lift out here. They had the car up way off the ground. Paulie Hartwig Jr. was crawling under it. That's his dad. They were just trying to fix the low gear in the number 20, and hopefully they have that problem fixed as he rolls down pit road right now. But work continues on Burt Myers' car, that Citrus Safe number 1, as they try to do a major fix with the track bar mount and the drive shaft.
That's some wholesale changes right there for Burt Myers' machine and shows dedication. Let's go to the Racing Electronics Race Communication and talk to Jimmy Blewett. Jimmy, you and Catalano made a little contact there. What happened?
I don't really know. It seemed to me that he just got into the wall a little bit. I guess coming off from Ford there, had a little bit of a wide arc, and when he come off, he just caught my nerve bar just right there on his way back down the track.
Well, thank you, Jimmy. We appreciate any damage to that race car. Does it feel good okay?
Everything feels fine right now.
Thank you, buddy. Jimmy Blewett in that number 17 car. You can see the damage to that Nerf bar on the right side of that PSR machine.
I'm watching down here at the number 1, though, Bob, and watching a team like this thrash to change the drive shaft on a race car during the race. This is absolutely amazing. It's exhilarating to watch this actually happen. So if you're a motorhead, if you love cars, and this is just a part of the sport that you don't always see, and this is a lot of fun to watch. I mean, the track bar mount broke. I mean, this is not little.
The Myers family, old school racers.
Yeah.
But I think what Burt Myers and his team is doing there, they want to get back out in the racetrack because they felt like they found something at Anderson Speedway a couple of weeks ago in South Carolina. He'd always been fighting, trying to figure out the drive up off. He said, man, we found it in a little bit more. So they really came in confident to this race at one of Burt Myers' favorite racetracks, South Boston Speedway. So right now they're taking a look at that and they're saying, hey, we can fix it. And remember, he's vying for his 4th crown with the Smart Modified Tour.
If there's one thing I've learned about the Myers family, whether it be Jason, whether it be Burt, whether it be, Slate, even Gary, their father, a great racer in the modified ranks, there's one word that they don't know, and that's quit. They will not quit. If they think they're right, or if they think they have a chance to even gain 3 spots on a racetrack, they will not quit. You see the cleanup continuing there in turn number 4, where some fluid was put down there. We're still under yellow flag conditions here at the Pace-O-Matic King of the Modifieds. 39 laps in with Carson Lofton, your leader. The number 2 of Ryan Newman in 2nd. Patrick Emmerling in 3rd.
Running well so far in this race is Ryan Newman in the number 2 machine. Are you comfortable inside that race car?
It's feeling pretty good right now. We fell back at the start. We were tight, which is kind of a good thing for us. But now we're just kind of waiting to see what the strategy is going to play out like, and we'll see.
Do you think everybody's going to do the same thing, Ryan, when that control caution comes in between 60 and 75? Everybody's going to take their stuff now?
Really no clue. It all depends on these cautions, if we get another long green flag run and when it all happens. So it's been kind of a unique race so far here with some of these red flags. It's not typical for us.
How's the racetrack now after all of this?
Well, they're putting a lot of floors right now, but they're actually doing a pretty good job of cleaning it up. So it's kept the racetrack in pretty good shape. And we got a couple breaks here on a couple restarts. So we'll see if we can just keep the ball rolling here, just keep things in check.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate you.
Yep, thank you.
Ryan Newman behind the wheel of the Bass Pro Shops Cabela's Bass Tracker Boats car as well. And there is Burt Myers. They continue to work on that race car. Let's go to Derek.
Well, this is the drive shaft that came out of Burt Meyer's car, and if you can see, it looks pretty straight, but if you look right here past the drive shaft shop logo, it has some indentations around this scratched part of the drive shaft. Now, it looks fairly straight, but that's actually a twisting bend on this drive shaft, so the crew wanted to make sure that they were going to be safe and have a good drive shaft in the car. They broke out a new one. They're still thrashing on this car over here as they try to get it back together and get Burt Myers back out on the racetrack.
The Citrus Safe choose cone is out. Burt Myers' car is still on pit road on jack stands. Will he be able to return to the king of the modifieds? Lofton chooses the inside. Ryan Newman chooses the top for this restart. 39 laps into this one.
Thought we were going to go green, but they called it off. So another lap at least until we go back to green flag racing during the King of the Modifieds. Look at this crowd here, by the way, today at South Boston Speedway. A lot of people in the grandstands, a lot of people littered around this racetrack, enjoying themselves on a beautiful Saturday afternoon in Southern Virginia.
I really love listening to Ryan there on the Racing Electronics radio there, talking about how he's kind of studying how this race is going. That's a guy with an engineering degree. That's a guy that doesn't only just think of his race car, he's thinking about the way things are playing out.
Looks like we're going to go back green. We're going to get back to that conversation because something might really play out here that a lot of people didn't expect. Meanwhile, Carson Lofton, Ryan Newman, front row for this restart. The second time that Carson Lofton has led in this race. Lofton goes up the racetrack, but Newman tough on the outside. And look at that second groove work, just like it did for Carson Lofton. It's working for Ryan Newman, and Silky is trying to come along with him. 3 wide for second momentarily.
Emmerling thought about it. He dipped down low, he felt the grip, and then he realized, I'm going to make this thing 3 wide at South Boston. Oh, no.
Baldwin picks up a bunch of spots. Luke Baldwin up to third, Lofton back to fourth, and here comes Jack Baldwin in the top 5. The VCU Massey Comprehensive Cancer Center caution out once again, and it's for Chris Pastriak along the inside retaining wall on the front stretch.
3 laps into the green flag run. Burt Myers has returned to the racetrack. You see the Lipsy, Connecticut driver, Chris Pastriak, with a left front tire down on that number 5 machine. So many years in racing for the Pastriaks, Carl Pastriak, Charlie Pastriak, his father working on that car alongside his son. The number 5 machine pulls down pit road, having to come to the service of their crew. Obvious left front. And let's see if there's any other damage from that incident.
He got hit in the back as well. You see that right rear quarter panel and the bumper bent up just a little bit. So they're going to give that a look over for Chris Pastriak. And that family owns a paving company up in New England. They work hard, and they're planning to run the Tri-Track Series again this year, some of the open modified shows at Stafford Motor Speedway. The Pastriak family, they are synonymous with the history of modified racing. His dad, Charlie, you mentioned, his uncle, the late Carl Pastriak, so important to the fabric of modified racing.
Yeah, truly are, and it's great to see them come down here and dip down south for some races. Getting to come down and race twice here this season.
Let's take a look at what happened. Chris Pastriak, blue car on the inside lane, and it looks like maybe Jimmy Blewett slowed up a little bit coming off of turn number 4, and that just jacked up Chris Pastriak, and he wound up on the inside of the front stretch up against the wall.
Yeah, Jimmy seemed to get a little bit loose there, and when he kind of stacked up there, I mean, Pastriak had nowhere to go. The closing speeds, the speeds in general, we talk about them. Well, that's a perfect example. That's why we talk about the speeds here, because that was a perfect example of how things can happen fast.
And listening to the radio for Chris Pastriak right now, they're taking their time on pit road because remember, cautions don't count. So they're working on the front end of that machine. It's a little bit towed in, so they're making the adjustments on that race car. Jaden Harmon also in for the second time in this race. That driver out of the Keystone State of Pennsylvania, really coming into his own at a young age in modified racing, plans to continue with the Race of Champions Modified Series in 2026.
Have a good look at the replay of what happens here, Bob. And if you look at the black number 17 towards the right of your screen, you see the blue number 5 of Patrick. Watch the 17 dip below Blake Barney right there. A little bit of contact, and that checked him up.
And here's what happened there, and a great job by our Flow Racing broadcast team with that slow-mo, because it looked like Jimmy had a run because Blake Barney got a little bit high. So Jimmy was trying to get by the 27 on the inside, but had to check up a little bit because the 17 started to slide closer to the 27. When it did that, all heck broke loose behind that, and Chris Pastriak was the victim.
Well, what does that do, Bob? It also puts the former Daytona 500 winner in the lead. Your leader right now, the number 2 of Ryan Newman. Silk up to second. Luke Baldwin up to third, moved the 15 of Lofton back to fourth.
Hey, Derek, it's been pretty busy on pit road recently.
It definitely has been busy down here, and I'm looking at Charlie Pastriak adjusting the front end, trying to get the toe right for the number 5 CT of Chris Pastriak. He finishes on the right front. Right now, it looks like the alignment is fixed as best as they can get it under these conditions, and now Chris Pastriak rolls away to rejoin the field.
Pastriak pulling off of pit road. The CitraSafe choose cone is out right now. You'll see these drivers select to the inside or outside. Newman chooses the outside as the leader. Loves the way that top groove works. To the outside also Luke Baldwin. That was a choice. Now brother Jack Baldwin joins him in the third spot on the inside of the second row. Plots are changing here constantly in the King of the Modifieds.
Yeah, the Baldwin boys in row number 2 there. Carson Lofton, who did not get fired well on the last restart, back on the outside of row number 3. Joey Coulter still there. Joey Coulter has had a difficult start to the season in that gray 0-2, but back to the line. Burt Myers pulling out into the racetrack once again after more repairs to that CitraSafe grill cleaners machine. Not going green this time. It'll be 1 to go, this time by the stripe.
Some people have in the past used to call the choose cone a gimmick. To me, this is the example of what's great about the choose cone. I want your opinion as a guy that's worked in motorsports for 420 years. You know, you and I went to races in our wombs. This choose cone makes things so interesting.
Yeah, it definitely does. And why not, right?
It's great.
It's all about the fans. And sometimes you get a single file racetrack, and this provides some opportunity to add excitement for the people that buy tickets to watch an exciting race. So I love it.
Or for a guy that wants to choose the top because his car works better there. That's not a gimmick.
Or he just wants to take a shot. So Ryan Newman on the outside, Ron Silk on the inside. 2 hard-nosed veterans of racing around America coming back to the Pace-O-Matic restart zone.
What an interesting start right there. It looked like the 16 was going to snooker him, but Newman got to the loud pedal on the outside. They danced side by side into turn 3 and number 4.
Silk, a little bit of an advantage, but that momentum on the outside for Ryan Newman could pay off down here in 1 and 2. This is normally where he is really strong, but those guys, the veterans, pretty even until turn 3. Ryan Newman back to the top.
Now the side-by-side battle is the battle of the brothers for third position right now. Jack on the inside, Luke on the outside, side-by-side. It's 7 NY and 7 VA.
Jack Baldwin became a dad for the first time, his daughter being born just over a week ago. Boy, would it be a great day if he was able to become a dad and a king in 1 week. Jack Baldwin now moves behind the 16. Jack Baldwin up to third, but Luke Baldwin, his brother, pushes him up the racetrack a bit.
The big crossover, the battle of the brothers here at South Boston. What a battle it is. Now Carson Lofton peeks to the outside of that battle, and Emmerling is right behind them.
Yeah, behind this is some good battles. There you see Carson Lofton going high, Patrick Emmerling going low, a little contact off of turn number 4. 79 laps to go in the King of the Modifieds.
Really cool to see Patrick Emmerling, who's never raced here at South Boston Speedway, start to figure out the nuances of this racetrack, the nuances that make it so special, like finding grip in different areas. You saw him get traction there on the bottom underneath that number 15 car.
And there it is. Emmerling going to the bottom once again. Emmerling with one prior start here in the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour in 2019. So Emmerling finished 7th in that race, but never in the Smart Modified Tour, making his first Smart Tour start here today. And man, he's whizzing that car on the inside, kind of angling it, coming off the corner. It pays off. He gets the spot on Luke Baldwin, so Emmerling now up to 4th.
Bob, what I also think is interesting down there is where you get that car pointed off the corner, and you're not abusing that right rear tire when you're driving off straight, much like one of our favorite places in late models, Five Flags Speedway, which is a sandpaper grit racetrack where you have to really protect that right rear tire. You see when he dips down low, he drives straight off the corner.
Battle for 6. Kopsick on the inside in the number 1 machine. Lofton not giving up on the outside one bit. And sometimes when you run that outside groove, it doesn't punish your tires as much. Kopsick working hard, trying to get back into the top 5. Luke Baldwin is now one spot in front of him in that 5th spot.
52 laps down right now. Everybody playing to when that fuel stop will be. There's a lot of strategy afoot. Is the 15 conserving a little those tires that you just mentioned, Bob? This is going to be a strategy play, something very mathematical.
I just figured out what Ryan Newman was talking about. And remember, there goes Danny Bone by Joey Coulter. Danny Bone picking up 8th on Joey Coulter. But back to the strategy. We know that there is going to be a competition caution between lap 60 and lap 75. So the teams have to put fuel in the race car. Kopsick continues to move to the front, going by Luke Baldwin now, so Kopsick now in the top 5. But what if the caution comes out a little bit earlier? Knowing that you're going to have a competition caution for fueling, why not come down and take tires, get the track position when everybody else may be going to pit during that controlled caution?
You could have seen that on that last caution too, actually, Bob. That's a great point. You have the opportunities with how these cautions fall in the Smart Modified Tour, and in particular this one, because of the refuel, to try to maybe snooker somebody, try to short pit somebody. But the battle between two friends right now has been heating up. The number 7 and the 15, Luke Baldwin and Carson Lofton. Here comes Danny Bone.
Last time by, I saw a little smoke from that 7 VA going down into turn number 1. Don't know if he got on the brakes way too hard or what, but there was a little smoke in turn number 1 about a lap ago for Luke Baldwin, that Pace-O-Matic Sadler Stanley racing machine. Bone is strong, and you talk about a guy that flexes his muscle with the Smart Modified Tour. Danny Bone, last 11 starts, 9 top 5 finishes. He drives that Alpine Partners number 25 for Mike Smith, and he picks up a spot. He picks up 7th, going by the 15 of Carson Lofton.
Last year, Danny Bone started the season without a full-time ride. And once he got that full-time ride, we knew that if he was coming back in 2026 full-time, he would be a championship contender. Look at Patrick Emmerling now, painting the back bumper of the
hold on.
car. Contact off of turn 2.
Hold on, Jack Baldwin. That car just a little bit loose, shoots up the racetrack. Emmerling gets back to that spot. He moves up to 4th. Jack Baldwin back to 5th, but that car has become evil in a hurry for Jack Baldwin.
Emmerling saw it. He sure did pounce, though. That was some hairy stuff here at South Boston Speedway. 68 laps on the board. We are now in that window. When will that caution flag fly? That's the big question right now.
So Bone, one of the fastest cars on the racetrack in the 25. We'll see what he does. He's a hard charger, up to 6 so far in this one. think everybody biding their time a little bit before this competition caution. Some of the biggest movers in this race. Up 13 for Joey Braun, who had that engine malfunction yesterday, had to change the engines in that mount in the 24. He's up 13 spots, so he's in the running for the Pace-O-Matic Hard Charger Award.
Really, we were talking about some big movers, Bob, and it was amazing to watch Elliott Sadler so far. You see him on your screen there, the 16, figuring out how to drive a modified here and doing it. Hey, how about trial by fire? Your first race in a modified, the king of the modifieds, are you kidding me? But this guy is a professional race car driver, and he's showing the poise that it takes. Listen, when you run the Cup Series, you know how to manage long races, and this is a race that could play into his favor, learning a lot here.
There is Blake Barney and Joey Coulter going at it. Barney, a winner in the Smart Modified Tour last year in the opener at Florence, South Carolina. Barney able to get by Joey Coulter, so now Barney up to 9th, and Joey Coulter might go back to 11th here.
Wow.
How about Chrisman in that number 48 machine, really having a good run in that bright orange race car. He said he loves South Boston Speedway after competing here yesterday and practicing. Chrisman up to 10th.
Crispin really showing his stuff. A guy that at the beginning of the day, when you saw 30 modifieds, you might not have had him at this point of the race 70 laps in as a guy in the top 10, but you don't know what's going to happen here at a race like this. A big race like this always has twists and turns in the plots, and this is just one of them.
That 48 car reminds me, we were talking about this, but it reminds me more about the Frenchie car from years ago.
Really? Not the Sherry Cup machine?
No, with how it has the body work in the front end of that machine.
I was talking more about purely color. But speaking of a colorful car, there is Ryan Newman, your leader, who's itching. He's wondering, everybody on this track, all the fans in the grandstands are wondering when this caution's going to come out. 73 laps on the scoreboard right now.
If it doesn't come out by lap 75, the caution will be thrown at that time. That is the window that David Hoots, the race director, gave these drivers and teams in the drivers' meeting this morning. So we're expecting that caution flag to come. 74 now in the books. Ryan Newman in control of this race over Patrick Emmerling and Ronnie Silk in the 16 machine. There is the VCU Massey Comprehensive Cancer Center caution for the competition caution. And now here's what we're going to see. Teams, once they get settled and they get back in line, they will have the opportunity to come down pit road and they will fuel the race cars. After that, they'll have to go back out in the racetrack, but after that, they can come down pit road another time to take that coveted tire, most likely on the right rear. In the meantime, it's time for us to take a quick break here. 75 laps into the King of the Modifieds. Competition caution pit stops coming up at South Boston Speedway.
Welcome back to South Boston Speedway, South Boston, Virginia, for the King of the Modifieds. And now we are under red flag for the mandatory fuel stop. And as you can see, looking up and down pit road, all the crews are out here with their fuel jugs, fueling up these cars, getting them topped off so they can make their way all the way to the checkered flag. A lot of them are also going to plan to take that tire very soon. So we see a lot of crews planning their strategy from here on out. Jason Myers, a few minutes ago, talking with him down here, he said everything's going to get wild from here on out because now you've got cars with full loads of fuel and some of them are going to have a new tire. So the weight is also going to be different in the cars with burned off tires. So anything could happen out there when we go back to green flag racing.
Oh boy, it's going to get busy down there. Fueling stops right now, Derek, but then these teams will go back out in the racetrack, get in the order that they need to, and then have the opportunity to come down pit road and take a tire. That tire, I'm sure, for several of these competitors, very important right now because they want to charge hard in the final 50 laps of this race because they're all going for $20,000, that top prize here today.
There is Ryan Newman, your race leader in the Bass Pro Shops #2 machine. Of course, only 2 crew members are allowed out by the car to refuel the car. A third one is allowed out there with a fire extinguisher for safety purposes here. And then when we lift this caution period for refueling, the cars will circulate back onto the racetrack. They will reopen pit road, okay? And then the cars, if they want to, can come in and choose to take that rear tire. That right rear tire is coveted in modified racing. That is where you're going to get the grip off the corner.
Listening to some of the team communication amongst the leaders of this race, one of them, Ronnie Silk, making some adjustments. That Phil Moran led team, and Phil's been like a super god in modified racing, turning the wrenches for some of the best in the business.
One of the most successful crew chiefs in the history of modified racing is Phil Moran. And you know, we have a camera up here in the booth, guys, and I don't know if you could see the camera, guys, but first time in the history of broadcast television do we have somebody popping in to get an autograph. This guy's coming in to get Bob Dillner's autograph here at the King of the Modifieds. This is like when Matt Kenseth, the guy came out on the racetrack to get an autograph from him at Watkins Glen, but Bob's signing autographs here while he's announcing. This is, you never know what you're going to see here at the King of the Modifieds, and the URW folks are big sponsors here at South Boston Speedway, and they are a fun group, eating some fried chicken and stuff over there before, mac and cheese. We've been drooling at the food they're eating in the booth next to us.
Well, I think
you just turned as red as your shirt, Bob.
I think I am blushing right now. Absolutely, indeed. Listen, you know, we do this because we love racing, and honestly, Dan Parisi is one of our producers here, and he and I have worked the business for such a long time, and we've always talked about the passion for racing, and we have the passion, and that's why we love what we're doing. That's why Flo does what they do. They love racing, dirt, pavement, all over the place. But I appreciate that. He was a nice guy. You invited him into the booth and signed a little autograph.
I mean, why not? Let's have a little fun. We're under the caution flag here. But the other thing that I want to talk about is there's no difference between some of us in the sport. Whether you're a guy like Ron Silk, who has an incredible resume of racing, right? There's nothing that separates us. He just has a cooler job than us. Yeah, we're up in a booth. This is pretty darn cool. But a race car driver has the best possible job on earth. But it's great to just have fun, loosen up a little bit. Oh, speaking of loosening up a little bit, my gosh, we've got Chris Williams in the house here in the booth. Are you coming for a Bob Dillner autograph as well?
Well, listen, Chris, you know, it's like a big party up here. We're going to invite everybody in the house in our Flo booth.
Well, everybody else showed up for this race, so I guess one more won't hurt, right?
That's right, exactly. Chris Williams, a series director for the Smart Modified Tour, powered by Pace-O-Matic. And right now, under this competition caution, pitting for fuel, and then they'll have the opportunity to come take a tire. And I don't think anybody's going to refuse that at this stage of the game.
Absolutely not. You kind of see a few of them backing up a little bit. There ain't no saving tires here at this racetrack for sure. And there's a few people that's actually moving forward that I've been pretty impressed with. I know Danny Bone's starting to work his way to the front. And I'll tell you, Elliott Sadler, he's really got a good bite off the corner, and he's starting to move up. And it's going to be fun to see these last 50 laps, turn out the way it's getting ready to turn out, which is going to be pretty exciting.
How about this Pace-O-Matic King of the Modifieds presented by Dominion Energy? Third straight year here at South Boston, another packed house. This event continues to grow.
Oh, it's become a showpiece, and Pace-O-Matic, what they do behind our sponsorship, but also what they do for local businesses is unparalleled. Dominion coming on board, third year with them as well, showcasing just what they mean to the community. Also, Massey, Comprehensive Cancer Center is doing extremely well. And I tell you, this crowd shows it. A lot of people out on the boardwalk, on the backside, walking around. Everything's really brisk. And this is good to see this kind of show for this event.
Real quick, I want to ask you before the cars come back down pit road. I'm going to put you on the spot here, okay? We've got 20 grand to win, 10K for second, great purse, great crowd, theatrics. What's next? What rabbit are you going to pull out of the hat next? This King of the Modifieds continues to grow, but I know you can't be stagnant.
No, we're not. We really, and we may even pull it off before this year's out. We're working on some sponsorship for the 3-race in season on the Friday nights. We're working for that kind of a 3-race championship battle with some big money there. We're working on some other stuff with some other series. Tri-Track and I have been talking a little bit about running a big event. We've got some ideas, and, that's going to be really a good. Matter of fact, if anybody that wins this race, it's a free tire and can start on the Tri-Track event this year. So, appreciate Ed and Renee and them doing that. But at the end of the day, we are not out of options to do different things. A lot of them want to run road courses. It's really too much. It's really way too much to do that. But there is some tracks that we've been talking to that's pretty exciting that wants the show, and we want to give it to them. So we're looking at it.
Well, we appreciate you coming in the booth. Carson Lofton having a good show here so far, 75 laps into this one. And are you ready to crown another king of the modifieds today at South Boston?
Absolutely. That's one of the cool things that I like doing, knowing that I am crowning, the best of the modifieds today.
And we're doing a little show and tell in the booth, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Here is the what's going to be read. It's the scroll that Matthew Dillner will have in victory lane for the king, the winner of today's race.
Yeah, it's this is a fun event. The competitors love it. The teams love it. The fans love it. We're going to continue this tradition for some time to come, and I like the crown. We might get a throne next year. I don't know. We're looking at doing.
We need a big chair.
A big chair. We do need a big chair.
I like it.
I appreciate you guys having me. I really appreciate everybody coming out, and especially watching across the nation. A lot of people texting me right now. They wanted the thing to get going, and we kept having a little bit of problems, but it's going to get going. It's good. This race is going to be great.
Absolutely, indeed. Chris Williams, Series Director for the Smart Modified Tour, powered by Pace-O-Matic, joining us in the booth here today under this competition caution. And now it looks like all the teams have pulled off a pit road. Now
I love
the opportunity to come down pit road. And the key thing is here, if you come down pit road, you take this tire when the pits are open, you are not going to lose your position on the racetrack either.
Unless somebody stays out.
Absolutely.
So once you come down pit road, if every race car comes down pit road, they all go back out there in the same order they come in. If you're trying to pull a wild card, you might stay out there and see what you could do with that old wore out stuff. I don't know if that's really going to work with this long to go in the race, to be honest with you, Bob, but this is going to be so interesting. This is the part of the King of the Modifieds that I actually get excited about, strategy and stuff. I love watching how things develop in a race. Much like when you watch the big cup races, 500 miles, there's so many layers to it, and this is a huge one.
Here they come right now on pit road. Ryan Newman, Patrick Emmerling, Ron Silk, and a host of other cars. Will there be anybody that stays out? I see Blake Barney's 27 that stayed out on the racetrack. Derek Pernasiglio, you have your work cut out for you right now as these heavy hitters head towards you on the front stretch.
Yeah, I expect to do a lot of talking in the next few minutes as all of these modifieds come down pit road, and oh boy, there is a huge line. Here they come. Ron Silk now down on pit road. He's going to take tires. They're going to go right to the right rear. Jack Baldwin also in. He's going for a right rear. Luke Baldwin coming in. They're also taking a right rear, swapping left side tires. We're watching windshields be getting cleaned, and boy, everybody is kind of doing the same exact thing, swapping left sides, putting a brand new right rear on. Here comes Burt Myers. He's coming in for his service as well. Paulie Hartwig, new right rear. Jay Crum, new right rear. Also, the number 1 of Steven Kopsick, new right rear and a left side swap. Carson Lofton, left side tire swap. They already changed the right rear. So we've got all of these guys coming down pit road pretty much making the exact same change on all of their cars.
Great job down there, Derek. And let's explain what's going on. When Derek talks about the left side swap, you only have 1 new tire, but you can take tires from other corners of the race car to get the desired stagger that you want for the feeling that you're looking for, and you can change positions of those other tires on the other 3 corners.
Okay, if you're watching this and you don't know even what we're talking about stagger, let's simplify it for you. If you take a solo cup and you put it on the ground and it rolls, it turns to the left, okay, because the smaller side is on the left and the big side. So that's basically like the stagger, okay? The bigger tire you want on the right, the smaller one you want on the left. Now what you do is you put that new fresh rubber on that right rear. Now, depending on what that tire measures at and what your left side, left rear tire measures at, you might go, well, that's not really a good measurement that they want. How does the left front tire measure? If they measure that and it's a more desirable stagger, they'll take the tire from the left front and put it on the left rear. It's a game of science to make sure you can get these modifieds to turn.
So I listened to you there, and I love that explanation. So what I learned from that...
That I like solo cups?
I was going to say you have experience with solo cups, yes.
Yeah. Back in my 20s, I was a solo cup champion.
So a lot of activity on pit road, and we're going to try to talk to some of the drivers here, maybe get a word with them before we go green, but the activity continues. Carson Lofton took a long time with his Shady Grady Racing team on pit road, but that's okay. You have the opportunity to take that time, and then the smart officials will get you back in the order that you need to be. Jimmy Blewett on pit road in that John Blewett Inc. VCU Massey Comprehensive Cancer Center, number 17.
That is an absolutely beautiful car, Bob. And it was really interesting, too. While the cars came down on pit road, you had so many of them on there that Bob and I were, while Derek was talking, we were standing up in the booth and we were watching, and I was kind of watching one quadrant. We're saying, okay, everybody's putting that fresh rubber on the right rear, and then, okay, this guy's starting to swap on the left side. This guy's starting to do it. And it seemed like almost every car up and down pit road was doing that same thing, and you see it so common here in the races. But, you know, that is how your car's going to turn for the rest of the race. This is what you have from this point. So those adjustments, even small adjustments to the stagger, but also air pressure, mean everything right now for these race teams. So that was the pivot point possibly for the race. A guy that might be 7th might wake up. His car might come, you know, to life here in this portion of the race, and it can all possibly point back to that moment on pit road for that driver and that team here at South Boston in the King of the Modifieds.
Let's go back to the Racing Electronics Race Communication. Ron Silk, you're having a good showing so far, threatening to capture this $20,000 payday today. How are things going for you right now?
Yeah, they're going pretty good. We've been a little bit free. The first 75 laps kind of struggled that a little bit. So hopefully we made the right adjustments there at the pit stop and have a little bit better of a car for the last 50 and see what we got.
Is this track continuing to change, and do you expect it to change in the final 50 of this race?
Well, I think the one tire change is going to make everyone's car drive quite a bit different. We don't do that very often, so we don't have a lot of experience on it, but you know, the track's been staying pretty good. My car was started a little free, and it's been free right to this point now.
Ron, we appreciate you, and good luck the rest of this race.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
Ron Silk, 30-time winner, 2-time champion of the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, and he brings up a good point.
Yeah.
The one-tire situation here in Smart, they don't do that with the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour.
NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, these guys are throwing on 4 fresh rubbers on those cars. So this is a totally different strategy play. But when you have a crew chief like Phil Moran on your side, that's a huge advantage for a guy, an outsider like Ron Silk. We're talking about a crew chief that's up in the echelons of like a Billy Nazowitz, who crew chief for Richie Evans. As far as the all-time great wrenches and leaders of a modified team, he's got to be in that Mount Rushmore conversation. Absolutely.
He indeed is. Greg Zippadelli, who wrenched in modifieds for such a long time. Tommy Baldwin as well. So coming back to the Citrus Safe Choose Cone, That's where everybody's going to make their decision on whether they want to start on the inside or out. Interesting scenario. How about Carter McMurray leading the field to the green flag? The teenager, the second-generation driver. If you remember that name, McMurray. His dad won the Daytona 500. So Jamie McMurray, true nice guy, has been around here. Was here yesterday at South Boston Speedway watching his son practice and qualify. That Bass Pro Shops, HendrickCars.com, number 40.
So you have a pair of people that are connected to Daytona 500s. One whose dad won it, and then a guy on the outside, and Ryan Newman, who won it himself.
And both of them have Bass Pro Shops on their cars.
Hey, Johnny Morris has got to be smiling ear to ear right now if he's watching this restart live on Flow Racing. The Bass Pro Shops cars are lined up, and they're stacked 2 by 2, all behind him. The king of the modifieds resumes lap 75.
Carter McMurray in control of this restart. He fires, and now here comes Newman. Watch how good Newman is on the outside groove, coming off of turn number 2. Look at that power down the backstretch. Baldwin way out of shape in that Stokes Shoes machine. He almost hit the inside wall.
Wow, a hairy moment for Baldwin. Now the race is on up front. Here comes Emmerling, but the 40 on the bottom is not giving up yet. Carter McMurray, a graduate of go-karts, Legends Cars Racing, and he is up front near the front of the pack of the King of the Modifieds. But Emmerling now gets second spot. Here comes Ron Silk on the outside. Give him the third spot.
This is go time for everybody, and you make your moves on restarts in modified racing. Here comes the one of Patrick Emmerling looking to the inside of Ryan Newman. A battle between the 1 and 2 cars, and Emmerling not going to have the mojo off that corner, but he's got the preferred line here. Newman drifts high, but Newman trying to keep the momentum off the corner.
Inside and outside, the way your car's handled dictates it, and this is a battle royale right now. The outsiders now moving to the front of this field. Emmerling, the new leader of the King of the Modifieds.
Here comes the 16 going with Emmerling. The 2 NASCAR Wheel of Modified Tour stars going for the championship again this year. Now 1 and 2 in this race as Newman slips back to 3rd. But here comes Steven Kopsick. Kopsick second last year in the King of the Modifieds. Good late in the going here. That number 1 car, brand new machine for him, looking good at South Boston.
Still a lot of mileage left on this race now, coming to lap 82 of this 125 lap affair. Silk now pokes his nose to the bottom. They're side by side off of turn number 2, touching tires going into 3, the leaders.
2 of the best in modified racing going at it. Emmerling on the outside, Silk trying to take over the top spot. They bang wheels once again. Ron Silk in the preferred line, and he runs the one up the racetrack. Silky to the lead here in South Boston.
Wow, this is exhilarating racing here in Virginia. Kopsick moves to second position. Emmerling now trying to get the heart rate down after that wild battle in 3rd.
Look out for Steven Kopsick. Brand new race car. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears and hours into that car in the last week and a quarter. Didn't know he was going to bring that car and said, let's put it together. Brand new machine is ultra quick, and Steven Kopsick learned a lot last year here at this racetrack. Ronnie Silk's got to be scared inside that race car because Kopsick is very strong, and here he comes trying to go to the inside of the 16.
Kopsick looking low. One of the great modified racers of this generation is in the front of this field. Now Kopsick trying to put his name up top in the modified racing ranks, is stalking the back bumper of that number 16 car here at South Boston. Oh, this is a great battle of 2 black, orange, and silver cars.
Those orange numbers looking good for many of the competitors here today. Trying to watch to see what Silk is doing, and I like the line he's taking into the corner on the outside and kind of cutting down, but not directly to the bottom. Seeing if he can keep the number 1 of Kopsick at bay. 3rd place in this race is Ryan Newman. 4th is Patrick Emmerling, and then a big gap back to Carter McMurray, who's still lurking in the 5th spot after a little pitch strategy by that 40 machine. A couple of guys that we've been keeping an eye on just to give you an update. Danny Bone in the 25 He's not marching towards the front, holding steady in 7th, as is Joey Coulter. Both of those drivers regulars with the Smart Modified Tour.
Now what you're seeing here too is a little bit of a daylight creeping in here, some intense sun creeping in turn number 1 here at South Boston Speedway. The sun dipping below the layer of clouds. This racetrack is very sensitive, changes a lot here at South Boston. So how will this affect the cars? Right now, Lofton on the outside of the black and orange number 17 of Blewett in this battle.
And what happened to Lofton? That car went away on him for a while. Now he's trying to climb his way back to the top. Carson Lofton now up to 12th. Jimmy Blewett, some trouble on the VCU Massey Comprehensive Cancer Center machine up front. Still waging war. 2 black and silver cars with the orange numbers. The 16 of Ron Silk and Steven Kopsick in the number 1.
Watching a battle develop right now for about the 9th position, 10th position, and the number 1 in the 56 car. The one of Crum, Catalano in the 56, had been waging war, and finally the 56 of Catalano takes the 10 spot right there. And a battle is going on in front of that. The 40 car has his hands full with Jack Baldwin going into turn number 1 right now. Battles all over this racetrack.
And there is McMurray. He's going to give up that 5th spot to Jack Baldwin. McMurray, by the way, after one of those earlier incidents, came on pit road and took that right rear tire, and that's what put him out in front for that restart, where he had the lead coming back to the green after the competition caution. But McMurray holding steady right now in 6th.
Comers and goers, bud. All we've seen all day is comers and goers, and that's what can make a race super interesting at times. Not just strategy plays, not just green-white checker finishes, also lapped traffic, and we're watching the leaders dive through it right now.
Max Hanley goes around. He was involved in an incident, I believe, with Austin McDaniel, but the rookie contender around off of turn number 2 to bring out the caution. Lap 99 in this one. We still got plenty to go to settle the score for $20,000 today at South Boston Speedway. Welcome back. Packed house today for the Pace-O-Matic King of the Modifieds, presented by Dominion Energy. Race number 3 for the Smart Modified Tour is at South Boston Speedway on a Saturday afternoon. This one is building with drama. under caution at lap 99. 26 to go in this one because of an incident that happened off of turn number 2. Let's take a look and see what happened to Max Hanley. Look out in front, and it looked like actually it might have been Blake Barney that was involved with Max Hanley, maybe the front bumper getting to the back bumper of the 45.
Well, that sure looked like it might have been. Great job by the 45 there of Hanley. Riverhead Raceway Roots keeping that car off the wall. That's not easy.
So Ron Silk in control of this race, but I wonder what the mastermind is thinking right now, Derek.
Thanks, Bob. With Phil Moran in the number 16 pit, the crew chief for Ron Silk. The car looks really fast. Doesn't look like you guys have had any problems all day. What's the prognosis for the end of the race?
Right now, Ron just said the car's really, really good. Made some really good adjustments on the pit stop. So hope we can bring him home to King. You know, Steven's sort of a teammate to us. Our shops are like a mile apart from each other, so, and him and Ron are good friends, so it ought to be a really good race here in the last 25, 30 laps. So.
Well, we've got 2 northern competitors that are down here competing for the King of the Modifieds at South Boston Speedway. Of course, Phil Moran, one of the old masters of modified racing. He won numerous championships with Doug Kobe as his driver.
One of the all-time great crew chiefs, of course, having so much success with Kobe, Todd Zegedy, success with him, as well as Ron Silk here in this number 16. Tyler Haight down there, also one of the owners, co-owners of that car, a former modified racer himself. This team is a bunch of darn racers.
And this team is coming back with a vengeance to go after another NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour crown. Last year they actually didn't compete for the full season with the Modified Tour. This year, that's their focus, to go after that crown once again and run some open shows as well. Silk, trim and fit, lost a bunch of weight over the course of the last part of last season. He's ready. He told me at New Smyrna when we were down there with Flow Racing, he said, you know what, I kind of needed that time away to reinvigorate myself. And now they're going after the championship, and that next step in that championship quest will come next Friday at the Paperclip of Martinsville Speedway, which you'll see live on Flow Racing.
Well, that's the thing. Rising tides raise all ships as we come here to the Carolina Drilling CitraSafe Choose Cone. But, you know, the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, the Smart Modified Tour won't run next week because, why? Martinsville. Martinsville is a huge race, okay, in the southern world. And for the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, that race will be live on Flow Racing. Proud to also say not only will I be there, but my brother Bob will be on pit road for the series that he has been a part of covering from day one of the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour when it started as the NASCAR Winston Modified Tour.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. The Circle of Champions, even the year before that. So
you were with Speedway Scene?
Yes, I was, indeed. Kyle Rickey and Skip Flores will be on the call. I'll be on pit road. We look forward to bringing you that on Flow Racing. Coming back to this restart, Silk takes the outside line at the CitraSafe Choose Cone. Bright skies overhead, sunniest conditions, and Kopsick spins the tires and loses a spot to Ryan Newman. Silk out front.
What a great job right there of Patrick Emmerling, not getting too hard into the back bumper of the number 1. That could have been disastrous on that start.
So Kopsick, oh, he's mad. He's frustrated. He's sideways. Kopsick trying to get back by the Rocket Man, Ryan Newman, and does. Kopsick knows he has a good race car, and his sights are set solely on that 16 machine for the lead.
Manhandling that number 1, and back into the second spot goes Kopsick. Jack Baldwin now enters the fray in the 4th position in that 7NY. He's behind Newman. Newman having one of the stronger races of all the Smart Modified Tour regulars today.
Daddy Jack Baldwin in the 7NY, 4th, having a good run. Had a good start to the season at Florence Motor Speedway as well in Timminsville, South Carolina. Look at this, 3 wide. Elliott Sadler in the middle of a couple of cars. He backs out. Smart move right there by the veteran.
man, that is a gaggle of modifieds coming out of turn number 2 there onto the back straightaway. So wide, you don't even, what cars are we going to show? There's side by side all the way around this racetrack.
Oh, hold on,
the number
Carter
77 on the bottom, William Lambrose. McMurray having a handful on the outside in that black and orange 40.
Well, Jake Crum is like, get out of my way, McMurray, with that older right rear tire. He's been pushing him all over the racetrack. The snake on the attack, but getting held up by the 40 of McMurray. And look at that. Crum cuts down in front of Lofton. Lofton backs off and doesn't get into him.
Oh, man, that was some good heads-up clean driving right there by the driver in the number 15, knowing that he has to make it to the end. 106 laps into this one. 19 laps to go for you mathematicians. Here comes the number 1. Crum, give him the spot. Here comes Lofton, and the number 40 is falling back fast.
You got to feel bad for Carter McMurray. He's holding on with that worn-out right rear tire, but this is honestly a wreck waiting to happen right now because that car is evil for Carter McMurray, stuck on the outside, and everybody is freight training him.
His tongue is definitely hanging out right now. And you see the wrap to the back bumper by Blake Barney to the number 40, and he's going to try to get to the bottom to the inside. Carson Dijon Tomaso gets by him as well.
Yeah, Carson Dijon Tomaso, we haven't spoken a lot about him. Clutch problems yesterday, got that clutch fixed this morning, and he's not having the run that he wants, but at least he's able to race today in the King of the Modifieds. And look at that front bumper on that 33 machine. That looks like it came out of Wall Stadium, where he is a regular for so many years.
Oh yeah, you got a little bit of iron, big iron up there that sometimes you got to use it, and sometimes she gets bent up a little bit. Here comes Trevor Catalano on the backside of the number 1. Gets it.
Oh, big wreck in turn number 1. Carter McMurray hard into the wall. Wow. We were just talking about how that was some precarious situations with a worn right rear tire on McMurray's mount. And all of a sudden, from the corner of my eye, I saw that 40 car go up hard into the wall in turn 1. You can see his hands moving, grabbing that wheel for Carter McMurray, and he's trying to pull off after a hard lick in turn number 1. Wow.
That car is trying to pull off, but it is all cattywampus. I think that was a pretty hard lick for McMurray. You see the damage right there. I think that thing slapped. Look at the skid marks there. Oh, my Lord. Look at it going into turn number 1. That is not what you want to see as a race car driver.
He was twisted up like a pretzel. You can see by those tire marks going into the corner, and I just saw the big impact in turn number 1, and that machine is banged up, battered, and bruised, and even more than that, mangled. That is a lot of repairs that need to go to that number 40 machine. Bad break for Carter McMurray here. We still got 15 to go in the King of the Modifieds.
back to South Boston Speedway for the King of the Mountains. $20,000 is on the line, and boy, we're getting close to the end of this, but caution came out. Carter McMurray ended up in the wall. First, are you okay, and what happened?
Yeah, I'm good. I think we cut our right rear down going on the entry, which is the worst place, obviously, at a racetrack. We were really good the run before that. The pit strategy was working for us, and we were sixth, but I don't know. It might have, I think it was a slow leak or something may have been cutting it down because I was wicked loose that last run. But yeah, it sucks for all these PSR guys. I'd say we had pretty good speed, obviously, in practice, and I kind of feel like it was downhill from there. But we were up there in the race. I thought, you know, if that would have ran green, we would have had a top 10 car. But yeah, it sucks. But you know, we'll have the week off, and hopefully we'll be really good at Dominion.
That's Carter McMurray, driver of the Bass Pro Shops number 40 machine. Unfortunately, he's out of this race with just about 25 laps to go.
Bad break for Carter McMurray, but how about the run right now for Trevor Catalano? Catalano with one of the best cars on the racetrack. We go to our Racing Electronics radio and dial in the 56. Trevor, how good is that race car right now?
Yeah, the race car is really good. You know, we haven't been here since 2019, so just didn't know the quite race adjustments to make, and just went too free there in that first run, but the boys made a good adjustment there, and you know, I think we got a chance. You know, I think we were probably the third best car there. I can't see the top two yet, so but I think we can get a couple more spots here, sneak into the top five, maybe get ourselves the top three, and you know, be there in case something happens up front.
Top three is good, but everybody wants to become a king. Do you have a shot at this win today? Because I hear your crew telling you it's go time.
Yeah, you know, I think we got a shot. The car is good enough. You know, we'll just see if the driver can figure out how to get around these guys quick enough to be close enough there to have a shot. You know, I think we'll probably need at least one more caution just to kind of keep us with it. You know, get a couple spots here, get a caution, and I think we got a shot. But these boys gave us a great car tonight, and can't thank you us any power and everyone enough for helping us out. And you know, hopefully we can put on a show these last 15 laps tonight, guys.
Good luck, Trevor.
Thank you.
Trevor Catalano up to 6, but he was almost about to break into that top 5, battling with Patrick Emmerling. Here's what we got coming up with the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. 2 weeks, Dominion Raceway. Beautiful facility in Spotsylvania, Virginia for the Flying DA Classic. And then the very next week, we are going to go to Hickory Motor Speedway, one of the legendary tracks in North Carolina. But after that, we cannot wait for the next one.
Oh, the bull ring right there, Wake County Speedway. You're going to have boxing gloves to get in that place, and they're going to have, I don't know, buses to load them in there. They're going to pack that joint. Of course, Franklin County, what a racetrack that is. Caraway, Pulaski Motorsports Park, back in this the racing world after being lost for a little while. Stacy Compton at the helm there, and then the beach trip, Carteret County.
Yeah, we love the beach trip near the east coast of North Carolina. Caraway Speedway, Orange County Speedway will be the first race of a 3-race playoff for the Smart Mods. Tri-County, and the only race not on there, North Wilkesboro Speedway. But I get back to April 24th, Franklin County on May 29th, and August 7th at Pulaski Motorsports Park in Virginia. 3 Friday night shows. Friday Night Lights with the Smart Modified Tour.
Oh, gotta love that part of the season. Of course, Saturday nights are spent at Bowman Gray for most of the modified scene, but then on the Friday nights, oh boy, it's Smart Tour racing at its best. And the bull ring at Wake County, we've been licking our chops for that race for a long time. A lot of us on the inside dying to go to that racetrack because we grew up on bull rings with high horsepower modifieds at Riverhead and Islip and places like that, and that's one of them.
And before we decide and settle the score here today, how about a shout out to everybody from South Boston Speedway for working with Smart on this event. This facility is beautiful. Paulie Hartwig III appears to be out of this race, but this facility, really a family-friendly facility. You can come, you can sit in a lawn chair in a beautiful grandstand, get a bologna burger. They have a playground off of turn number 4, a lot of amenities for the fans, and they're going to have the late model stock cars. That's the premier division, NASCAR division here for this racetrack all year long. The big Thunder Road Harley Davidson 200 at the end of June. You can see all those races live on Flow, but this is a beautiful and really highly competitive facility, and we cannot wait to see what we have in store here with this facility this year with Brandon Brown and his staff.
So just like Newman did, the leader, Silk, takes the top side here on this restart, something you don't see at a lot of racetracks. Kopsick on the bottom.
So do you think Kopsick says, I'm going to get a little aggressive here and do the 8 tires is better than 4? Listen, if I were Kopsick, I would do it. You got $20,000 on the line and have the possible honor of being the king of a modified class.
Well, 15 laps to go. This is no time for hesitation, because on the plains of hesitation lie the bleached bones of those who waited, and waited died. That's an old quote, but right now there's no time to wait. A restart here with 15 to go for the king of the modifieds.
Kopsick spins the tires again, just like last time. Silk out front easily. Battle for second. Kopsick trying to get back to that spot, but Newman grabs second.
Kopsick on the bottom right now, trying to make that car turn. Right behind them, Jack Baldwin takes the 4 spot, side by side for second place right now, down the back straightaway. Contact between those two.
Wheel-to-wheel contact between Kopsick and the 1 and the 2 of Newman. Kopsick able to get back to that second spot. Newman will file in third. Behind that, the 56 car is charging hard. Trevor Catalano able to pick up a spot past the 1 of Patrick Emmerling. Trevor Catalano now, oh no, we got one going around in turn number 4. It's Jake Crum, who just caught the barrels at the beginning of the inside pit wall.
And the 56 there of Catalano spun on the outside there. Absolute mayhem just developed here in turn number 4, unexpected. And you see the smoke billowing from Catalano's machine. Catalano was on the charge, just moved into the 5th position. Joey Coulter just followed suit behind him. And then something happened in turn number 4. Catalano was up high. You saw the number 1 of Jake Crum's spin. I wonder, possibly fluid on the racetrack from that. And now you see on pit road the number 1 of Crum coming in and changing the right front tire, possible tire down. There is an emergency tire available if you do have a flat tire. And Derek is down there. Let's go to him now.
Yeah, right now the crew is going to work on that number 1 Mount Airy Toyota car of Jake Crum. He is in the car. They are just changing the right front. They're just assessing the damage to the front end of the car. They're trying to see if the car is towed out, if it's out of alignment. Justin Link down here looking at the right front corner of the car. They're trying to push the front nose cone down to try to get all of the sheet metal as straight as possible to get some air into the front radiator. But right now, no fluid is leaking out from underneath the car, no damage, too serious. It looks like Jake Crum will be able to rejoin the field.
Wow, what a turn of events. We were just talking about Trevor Catalano moving into the top 5. He's there with his hands on his hips. And Catalano going down the racetrack appears to be okay, and that's good news. Let's see if we can see what happened. Catalano right in front. He was all the way up the racetrack already, and I saw some smoke coming out from underneath the hood. An apparent problem on the engine on that 56 car, and I think that put some fluid down on the racetrack, and that's why Jake Crum went around. Let's go down and find out more with Derek.
Trevor Catalano parked up on top of the track. We saw steam coming out of the front engine compartment. Is that what turned you around, spinning in your own water?
Yeah, you know, we were overheating a little bit and just trying to keep it as cool as we could. And I don't know, the water cap ended up popping, but yeah, I don't know. I think we were going to finish 3rd, probably, maybe have a chance at the win, but this sucks, man. We had a really, really good car, and these guys busted their butts all day long, and it just sucks. Can't thank US Any Power and Construction, Nova Glass, just everyone that helps us, everybody that comes out to watch, and our whole crew.
Tough break for Trevor Catalano. Unfortunately, he's out early. He's going to walk back to the pit as the tow truck tows the car back to his garage stall.
And they're cleaning up that fluid that Trevor Catalano put down in turn number 4, so that'll allow us to take a quick break, get some water, get some pop, get whatever you want from the refrigerator. This one is going to be interesting in the final 12 laps of this race. So we have the caution going out here, 12 laps to go in the King of the Modifieds, and here's what we have coming up for the ZMAX Cars Tour on Flow Racing, Wake County Speedway. That's going to be a lot of fun next Saturday night. It's going to be a blast, and this one's going to be a lot of fun for the Cars Tour and Nashville Fairgrounds. And O'Dale Jr. actually tested there this past week. He was a little emotional about that test indeed. So that'll be fun. Caraway Speedway ace Langley back in Virginia. We're coming to the green here for the King of the Modifieds and the possible conclusion of this one.
Well, it's deja vu all over again, like you said before, which is one of my favorite Yogi-isms, because the restart lines up again like we saw it just a few moments ago with Kopchik on the bottom and the leader, Silk, choosing the outside. Which groove will it be that will fire first and make it to the lead in turn 1 and 2?
Kopchik has spun his tires on the last 2 restarts. Can he get a good one? No, he does not. Same song, different lap for Steven Kopchik, although it's a little bit better this time. He's able to get and stay alongside of Newman and dispose of him going down the backstretch. So Kopchik, does he have a shot here in the closing laps of this race? A big wiggle by Jack Baldwin in the Stoke Shoes white machine.
Baldwin right now with his hands full. The car, I'm watching those right behind it. The 0-2 of Joey Coulter IV has come to life in this race. You see that gray machine. They call it the Gray Ghost. Right behind Emmerling, but he has nowhere to put that car right now as their 2x2 with Lambros leading the charge of that group.
Hey, we have not mentioned Lambros much at all, and he moves up to 6. Elliott Sadler gets to 7th now.
Wow.
So some hard-fought racing. Elliott Sadler, welcome back to racing at South Boston Speedway. Trouble for Patrick Emmerling. Emmerling way up the racetrack. Trouble for the USNE Power car.
Big heartbreak for the number 1 right there, getting shuffled out of the groove. Now, Silk, your leader, leading Kopchik with 8 laps to go for the King of the Modifieds. Right now, the number 1 trying to use a different groove to try to make ground.
I think Kopchik is just pushing it for all it's worth right now, charging into the corners to try to close the gap on a driver who is always silky smooth, Ron Silk, and he's able to keep the pressure on Kopchik by managing where he is on the racetrack and the gap between 1st and 2nd. Emmerling on pit road, bad break for that New York driver. 5 to go now at the line. Ron Silk, what a decorated career he has had. We mentioned those 2 championships for the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. He's done so much in his racing career, those 30 wins with the Tour as well. 15 NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour poles. 10 Tour-type modified wins at New Smyrna. The list goes on, including 7 tri-track modified wins.
And a lot of movement up and down this lineup. You're seeing some great battles here. Elliott Sadler, also of note, moving into the top 5 past William Lambros. Elliott Sadler returning to the wheel and first time in a modified, and he's top 5 at the King of the Modifieds.
The comeback continues for Elliott Sadler in the top 5 and the King of the Modifieds. Impressive indeed. But so is this guy, Ron Silk, the Connecticut driver. White flag this time out for Silk. $20,000 on the line today. The richest race in modifieds this year. The 16 has been so strong. Ron Silk has been so good. But never before has Ron Silk been called a king, but now he is indeed the king of the modifieds with the win at South Boston Speedway.
Ron Silk does it. He wanted the cloak, he wanted the crown, and today he's the one that will leave South Boston with it on his head and on his shoulders as the fans come to their feet here at South Boston to salute the new king.
Impressive. Nothing more can be said than that for Ron Silk. The guy is just so good. Let one slip away last year, led 34 laps in this race, and then Heartbreak Hotel for Ron Silk when he comes back this year and revenges that loss from 1 year ago to claim the top prize in modified racing this year, $20,000 as the winner of the King of the Modifieds. Phil Moran, his entire team, This team works hard. They brought this car to New Smyrna Speedway earlier this year for a little test session, and it paid off because he wins this one today at South Boston Speedway. Silk, not a man of many words, but I'm sure he's going to be awfully excited and emotional in victory lane here today. Fans that are leaving South Boston Speedway, on behalf of Chris Williams and Brandon Brown, the entire staff, thank you for coming. We hope to continue this tradition next year with the Smart Modified Tour at South Boston Speedway. We loved having you, and what a beautiful day in Southern Virginia as we get set to go down to Victory Lane, Pace-O-Matic Victory Lane at South Boston Speedway. Derek, what's the vibe like down there for Ron Silk and his team?
Well, right now the team is all sticking their head in the window to congratulate them and say hello. And of course, Ron Silk getting one of the biggest paydays in his career, shaking hands, and he's taking the equipment off and getting ready to climb out of this number 16 machine. Phil Moran does it again with Ron Silk behind the wheel. Robert Yates Racing horsepower underneath the hood. Of course, the Future Home Custom Builder sponsored entry. He is about to jump out of the car. Ron Silk still getting congratulations and well wishes. Here he comes. The king of the modifieds is here, Ron Silk. Come on over here, Ron. Is this the biggest purse you've ever won?
Yeah, close. This and a couple of Stafford Spring Sizzlers. It's great to come down here and race for this kind of purse. I had a lot of fun coming last year and knew we wanted to get back this year, and feels good to take home the trophy this year.
You know, you weren't huge. You didn't put huge numbers up, but you were consistent all weekend. Yesterday, today, the car was solid. Did this car ever miss a beat? Because it looked like a Timex.
Yeah, I mean, it ran great all weekend. We were a little, like I said in the mid-race interview, we were a little bit too free that first run, but the guys nailed it on the pit stop and got it right when it mattered.
Now, did you know Steven Kopsick was back there? I know he had a few tough restarts, and you were just on it each time. Did you have to time each one right?
Yeah, I got a bunch of good restarts there, and it was a luxury being clear by the time we got to turn one every time, and I could kind of run my own line there, but it's a good job for Steven and a good race with Ryan and Emmerling and everybody that was up there.
Well, now we can call you a king, so let's come over here and bring you in front of Matt Dillner and give you your crown as Ron Silk walks over. There you go. The honorary cloak and crown getting ready to go on the newly crowned king of the modifieds. And of course, with the win of being the new king of the modifieds, there is a decree.
Hear ye, a decree from the Commonwealth to all nations. On this day, March 21st, the Smart Modified Tour, powered by Pace-O-Matic, declares Ron Silk 2026 King of the Modifieds.
Ron Silk, ladies and gentlemen, king of the modifieds. He's got one other comment.
Just want to say hello to my mother-in-law and my wife at home. Mother-in-law Shelly's not feeling too good. We're thinking of you, and see you home soon.
And we hope this picks up all of their spirits as he picks up the win in the number 16 machine today, $20,000 richer. Congratulations to Ron Silk. Let's go back up top.
You know, in modified racing, and Derek, my brother, and I have been around modified racing all our lives. And this is something special that we are feeling here today. With Ron Silk becoming the king of the modifieds, able to get the job done. He and Phil Moran have worked hard, and here are the unofficial results for today's race. Kopsick winds up in second for a second consecutive year. 1 spot short for that driver out of Connecticut. Newman in the 3rd spot. Jack Baldwin, great run for him in 4th. The new dad winds up with a great top 5 run here at South Boston. And how about Elliott Sadler? Are you kidding me? Maybe a big return to racing. Maybe we'll see more out of Elliott Sadler after a 5th place run in that 16 car. The 77 of Will Lambros in 6th. Karsten Dijon Tomaso, incredible run for him from the back to the front. 7th position at the end of 125 laps. Carson Lofton, 8th place here today. Joey Braun, he too started at the back of the field and finished 9th. A lot of other drivers struggled throughout this one. Sean McInerney, didn't talk much about him today. Struggled a little bit. 15th place run for the rookie here with the Smart Modified Tour. 2nd place, Steven Kopsick, 1 short yet again for the driver out of Connecticut, Derek.
Yeah, it was a really good run for Steven Kopsick. He gets a little sip of water. It was hot behind the wheel of that race car today, but 2nd place, not a bad run. Could you have done anything different to catch the leader?
I don't think so. I think I think that's about all we had, and I'm not sure how much he had left. But glad to finish runner-up to him. I mean, he's the man in the modifieds right now. He's won here before, so just couldn't be happier with our performance today and how the guys work together, and just can't thank Tommy Wanek enough, and Wanek Construction, Franzosa Trucking. Creative Racing Products, just everyone that makes this happen. Joe Kress from Harry's You Pull It, Carson Warehousing Logistics, just Robert Yates for the awesome engines. Never have to worry about those are reliable. So glad to come home P2.
It looked like you had some trouble with those late race restarts. What happened?
I think we just had a little too much stagger, and once I got rolling, I was okay, but just couldn't launch. But all in all. Couldn't be happier finishing 2nd to them and that team. They're they're all good friends of mine, and we definitely help each other. So glad to see them win and see what we can do next time.
It was a good, solid run for Steven Kopsick in the number 1 car. We're going to throw it back up top and then head over to talk to 3rd place.
So impressive was Steven Kopsick, and think about that. Both drivers from Connecticut, 1 and 2 in this race. So the power coming from Connecticut at places like Thompson Motorsports Park, as well as Stafford Speedway. They breed some pretty good race car drivers, including the Waterford Speed Bowl as well in Southern Connecticut. 3rd place in this one, Ryan Newman charged hard, gave it his all, winds up just a little bit short here today. Let's go down trackside to Derek Pernasiglio.
Thank you very much, Bob. Yes, in talking with 3rd place, Ryan Newman, you said the strategy before the race was to go win. Not bad coming home with the 3rd spot. How was the race from your seat today?
Well, the problem is Silk had the same strategy, and he pulled it off. Ultimately, we had a really good car. Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's, Montrose Motors, Aggressive Hydraulics, Capital Auto Group, Key Display, everybody that's a part of this. Really proud to drive and represent the companies. But we just missed it just a little bit. Got a little bit too loose there that last run. Stagger opened up, but I think it was kind of our own fault, and we learned from it. But ultimately, I was too loose there at the end and had a really good car before we put the tire on. The strategy didn't seem to matter a whole lot because of the way the cautions fell. We all pitted, and there was no big hodgepodge of figuring out who was going to pit and who wasn't and have different groups pit. So we all pitted at the same time. Most of us kept our track position, and we had a good race that way. Just lots of red flags. I hated to see that for the flow guys.
When the car gets that loose like that, how do you have to adjust as a driver to compensate?
Well, it's pretty simple. When it's got too much stagger, it wants to cut a tighter circle, so you just make your circle smaller and try to make that work. And running all 4 tires on the apron, it had some grip, but it's not the ideal line you need to go around here, so that's what I ended up having to do the last 12 laps of the race.
Well, it was a solid run and also a solid points day for Ryan Newman. He comes home in the number 2 Aggressive Hydraulics machine.
Newman with a good run here today, and as we go through the rest of this finishing order, it's been really interesting to watch the progression of this race. The inaugural event 3 years ago won by Luke Baldwin. Luke Baldwin, it was his first win in Tour Type Modified competition in the biggest race of the season for the Smart Modified Tour. Last year, one of the best, if not maybe top 3 in modified racing all time. Matt Hirschman, Big Money Matt, grabbing the win. He was is not with us here today, concentrating with the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. He'll be at Martinsville Speedway down the road here from South Boston, and Martinsville Speedway next week. That'll be next Friday, but Hirschman plans on coming back to this event at some point. But his crown now belongs to Ron Silk, another veteran, another legend in modified racing, has won races all over the country from Florida all the way up through northern New England. And today he wins for the second time in his career at South Boston Speedway. His first win came in a NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour event at Sobo back in 2019. But this is an open competition, if you will, Smart Modified Tour event. And today he dons the cloak, he has the crown, and the Smarty Trophy in victory lane. Incredible performance by that Future Homes number 16 car, and a lot of that success. Ronnie is so talented behind the wheel, has to be attributed though to Phil Moran, who has actually wrenched cars for so many winners in modified racing. So guys, this has been incredible. Derek and Matt Dillner are trackside, and what was your take coming out of the 2026 edition of the King of the Modifieds at South Boston Speedway?
Well, my take on this race is it is always exciting. It's always it's something to see. It's something to behold. It is rapidly becoming one of the key staple races in the Southeast. And, of course, so many different storylines from today. We saw wrecks. We saw guys come from the rear. And you know what? One of the things that I was most impressed with that we didn't touch on enough was how good Elliott Sadler was and how he came from the back of the pack, man.
For a guy to be in a modified for the very first time and to master the discipline that it takes to wheel one of these 600 horsepower cars with all that tire and to manage that throughout a race and end up like he did, that's super impressive race management. So, you know, you said it right though, Derek, because there was so many different plot lines to this race. You had youngsters leading, you had veterans, you had Daytona 500 winners, you had outsiders, you know, people from the Wheel and Modified Tour. You had so much drama and action that it had all those layers that you want in a crown jewel. And absolutely stunning day here at South Boston Speedway for the Pace-O-Matic King of the Modifieds. And super proud to be fellow modified guys, me, you, Bob, our hardworking crew, to celebrate modified racing all day long, whether it's from the old car with Satch Worley in it to crowning a new king today in Ron Silk. Beautiful day.
It really was awesome. It was a lot of fun. We hope all the fans that tuned in and watched from home enjoyed the race, and all the fans that came out here today to South Boston Speedway also had a great day at the races.
Well, thank you so much. Great job down on trackside and pit road, Derek. Just an unbelievable day on a picture-perfect afternoon, Saturday afternoon in Southern Virginia. So we had an exciting day here. Ron Silk, the winner of the 2026 edition of the Pace-O-Matic King of the Modifieds, powered by Dominion Energy. This one will not soon be forgotten, especially by that team, the 16 team winning $20,000 here today, one of the richest paydays in Ron Silk's career. We enjoy all the action at South Boston Speedway each and every year. We saw the Hitachi Energy NASCAR late model stock cars, the ground pounders, as well as the Smart Modified Tour. And fans enjoyed all the action here today around this 0.4 of a mile speedway. It started with the command to fire engines and then plenty of 600 horsepower racing. Congratulations to Lee Pulliam on the victory in the late model stock car wars. But today it's Ron Silk grabbing the checkered flag at $20,000 as the King of the Modified.